Coffee in Tow is an interactive world news podcast, a dynamic and engaging live show that streams across multiple internet radio stations worldwide. This podcast brings you real time news updates, in depth analysis, and interactive discussions on global events, making you a part of the conversation no matter where you are. With a diverse range of expert guests and listener participation, it's your go to source for staying informed and connected to the world. Coffee in Tow is brought to you in part by Lormel Skin Food. Log on to lormelskinfood.com. Discover the range of natural skincare solutions. Indulge in the radiance of natural and organic beauty with the best natural and organic soap bars, whipped soaps, body butters, and oils. All 100% natural products. Lormel Skin Food for a natural, beautiful you. The world's best coffee from our farms to your cup. It's Grand Coffee House. All right. Thank you, YouTube, for being here with us. Happy Friday. How's my fan base family doing? How you doing on the check-in? Ja, that snow, you cleared your snow out yet?
Oh, I didn't have to clear it. The sun does that for us.
Oh, you have sun? That's good. Sun does some. We have no sun here. Send us some of your sun, please. Are you on the road?
But it's still, I'm on the road.
Going to the office?
The place that employs me.
Oh, all right. Okay. Please be careful out there. Please be safe out there.
Yes, thank you.
Please be real warm.
All. I am.
All right. All right. All right. RoSolo. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Friday. What's the weather like in the ATL?
ATL is cold. ATL is cold.
It's a cold like a mother.
The snow has melted, but it is a beautiful, whopping 20 degrees. Yes. The kids are back in school. The kids are back in school because we did have about a half an inch of snow, and that shuts Georgia down.
Oh, we know.
It's our second snow day in 2 weeks. So the roads were really bad. It wasn't because of the snow.
Did I lose you? All right.
Okay,
we're back. We're back.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So the roads weren't good. The roads weren't good. So but it's gonna get better. It's melting. But it's cold. It's very, very winter is here. Winter is here. Winter is here. We asked for her and she came with a bang.
Chitty chitty bang bang. So I saw that way we can do what I must, right? Do what I must. All right, let me go ahead and get situated here on greetings, Mad Libran, with me here on YouTube. Greetings. Greetings to everyone watching on YouTube Live. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me get myself situated here with internet radio. Let me get back into the app so we can get the show on the road, so to speak. Yeah, we just made it up to 50 degrees, RoSolo. This morning we were in the 40s. Um,
Y'all must be going crazy over there in Florida, down there in Florida.
all the chinchilla is out this morning.
I was just about to say the same thing. I was going to say the same thing. I can only imagine the drama there, but I can only imagine. But hey,
You know,
cold is cold for everyone. You know what? If your body's used to being in the tropics and in warm weather, then I totally understand how 50 degrees and 40 degrees is cold for you. So cold is cool, regardless.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. It is. It is. All right. So we're back live on internet radio. We're back live. All right. Woo! I don't know how so the other day, not I think it was on Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday. After I got off the show, I was talking to DJ Simple because we're fixing some issues. No, 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 we weren't fixing issues. I'm lying. He called me to ask me a question, and I ended up talking to his wife, and she was telling me minus 20 degrees. And then I remembered when Mad Libran said on Wednesday it was minus 18 degrees. Hey, hallelujah.
listen,
Do
I
that.
was speaking to a customer in Colorado, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this was 2 days ago, so it was before the snow started, and or 3 days ago. And I was saying, she's like, "How's the weather?" I was like, "It's freezing. It's 30 degrees." And she's like, "Well, here in Colorado, it's minus 31." And we never shut down for snow days. And I was like, slap me in my face and let's just air clean, honey, because yeah, I don't even understand that kind of cold. And she's like, "Yeah, we never shut down for snow days." I'm like, "Girl, only half an inch has to fall here in Georgia, and we are done for the week."
Not even half an
He
inch.
said,
Just even
she
quarter.
said minus 31.
Wow.
I wouldn't even be outside. There's just no power. How do you dress for that kind of weather?
Me no
What do
know,
you put on?
sir. Me no know.
Mm-mm,
Just me no
mm-mm,
know. Not me.
mm-mm.
Down, wool, everything.
Everything you have in your closet, just layer. Everybody walking
Everything.
around like a bubble character. No, 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 no,
But you know
at
something, if
all.
you're born in it, if you've been in it for a while, you get used to it, right? You know how
That's
to
true.
navigate that. Yeah. But big
That's
up
true.
to all of the people them who up in the cold weather. Much respect for the all I uno. Me not have that. My body can't manage them things there. Yeah, man, I'm a tropical girl. Born in the tropics, raised in the tropics. I did try the winter thing. Yeah, little old me can't manage it at all. So, all right, let us go ahead and get the show on the road. Our first story of the day. We head on over to Antigua, and has no settlement in sight for long-standing dispute with the U.S. regarding WTO. This article courtesy of CaribbeanNationalWeekly.com. Welcome to do we have a new Michael Justice here on Fanbase? Welcome to the space. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you coming through. All right, this article courtesy of CaribbeanNationalWeekly.com. Antigua and Barbuda has expressed that it may take another generation to resolve the long-standing dispute with the United States, and this dispute is regarding the World Trade Organization ruling that favored the Caribbean island. The country acknowledged that any hope for a near-term settlement appears to be fading, with progress on the matter remaining elusive after many years. Antigua and Barbuda had taken its case against the US to the WTO in 2003 regarding its online gambling industry following Washington's efforts to prosecute foreign based suppliers of online gambling services. St. John's had argued that the North American country had violated its General Agreement in trade on Trade and Services, otherwise known as GATS, a WTO treaty that governs international trade in services and was established in 1995 as part of the Uruguay round negotiations. The WTO ultimately ruled in favor of Antigua and Barbuda and awarded the country the right to suspend US $21 million dollars annually in intellectual property rights held by US firms. In 2018, Antigua and Barbuda's ambassador to the United States, Sir Ronald Sanders, said his country had lost US $315 million dollars so far, equivalent to more than a quarter of its annual GDP, gross domestic, and less than 0.1% of the US economy. Although the WTO awarded Antigua and Barbuda to use trade sanctions to recoup its losses, it opted for settlement and to date has not received any payment from the United States. So take them to court. Simple, A and B. Take them to court. One thing I must say, I have to give it up to Gaston Brown. I have to give it up to Mia Motley. I have to give it up to Gonsalves. And there's another one over there in the Eastern Caribbean. Them no back down, them no afraid, them no care. They are going to say what they have to say. Who want Bex. They stand 10 toes down on what is right. And I have to give it up to them. So often, so many different countries cower to the United States of America. They allow the leaders of these countries allow themselves to be controlled and dictated to. Mm-mm. Brown, Motley, Gonsalves, and I can't remember the name of the other one. Them not take no talk from nobody. They speak their mind. And I really wish that leaders would stand up for their countries. So, United States owes our Antigua and Barbuda this money, $21 million, well, 315 million US dollars. Please pay over the please pay them. Don't let them carry it put in a collections. But then again, the US does operate in a deficit. So and Ja, I'm sure your leader will not rest. I hope he gets the money for his country in his lifetime. I hope it don't take another generation to dispute, right? Because this has been going on since 2003. Cough up the money.
Can you imagine an entire generation? That is just hilarious in my eyes.
And let us say 3 score 10. So you're possibly looking at another 70 years, I should say. No. By then, what will the figure be? Plus interest, I hope. Plus interest, you know.
But you said something interesting. They already took them to court. What other court do you have to take them to?
I don't know. I don't know. But I it is my desire or is my hope that they will win. That's my hope. All right. Okay, next up, we're still in Antigua and Barbuda for our next article, courtesy of Caribbean.com. Tensions have escalated between the Antigua and Barbuda central government and the Barbuda Council over a major infrastructure development project at Louis Hill, Barbuda. In a statement released recently, the cabinet reported that members of the Barbuda Council have physically obstructed a government authorized project by positioning two government owned trucks to block an excavator intended to clear land for a significant development. The proposed project, which includes plans for over 200 homes, a mall, and additional infrastructure, has been halted by the Council's actions. The central government emphasized its legal authority over Crown lands, referencing a recent Privy Council decision initiated by the Barbuda Council itself. Cabinet officials stressed their commitment to developing Barbuda, stating that the project aims to provide legal land ownership for residents, those born on the island, and qualifying citizens. The government warned that resistance to development would not be tolerated. As Barbuda is brought into the economy of Antigua and Barbuda in a meaningful way, resistance by those who wish to stand in the way of progress cannot be accepted, was the from the cabinet. The government has called on the Barbuda Council to remove its blockade, warning of potential legal consequences, while simultaneously expressing a desire to prevent property damage or personal harm. All right, gonna start out on a business, angling a business over there, because you would think that you guys would be working together, the council, along with the government, because isn't the council a part of the government? I would think, come on, let's iron this out and move forward. All right, next up, we head on over to Grenada. Let me see if I pinned my link over there. Lower gas prices for January 2025. This article, courtesy of Mr. President, and it can be found on nowgrenada.com. The general public was informed that effective Saturday, January 18, 2025, the retail prices of petroleum products, gasoline, diesel, kerosene, and liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, commonly known as cooking gas in the state of Grenada, will be as follows. All right. There is a decrease in the prices, folks. So we appreciate that. Gasoline went down to $14.09. Diesel, $13.68. Kerosene, $10.22. And that's in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique. All right. In Grenada, LPG cooking gas for the cylinders, the 20-pound cylinder, there's no change in that. It's still $40. The 100-pound cylinder, however, this is a harsh increase, not slight at all, $9.25. And then the bulk per pound, 10-cent increase to $2.35. In Carriacou and Petite Martinique, there has been no change to your cooking gas price. However, your 100-pound cylinder went up $9.25, and your bulk went up by 10 cents to $2.35. So slight increases in some areas, but for the most part, gasoline, diesel, and kerosene all saw a reduction in the cost that went into effect Saturday, January 18th. So we will embrace any reductions we can take anywhere at all. We can get them. All right, we're still in Grenada. China and Nigerians top the CBI new citizens approvals. Wow, this is interesting. For the year 2025, everybody want a piece of the Eastern Caribbean. Gonna get into this one. Thank you. Citizenship by investment, CBI approval for 2024, with over 2,000 of the approved 5,443 new citizens representing these nations. Earned EC $472,981,142 for the year. They're not only blouse and skirt. Anyway, latest data from the CBI units shows that 23% of 1,252 of the approved new citizens were Chinese, while 19% or 1,034 were Nigerians. The data released on the unit's website shows that approved citizens representing a wide cross section of nations, including Great Britain, South Africa, Benin, Pakistan, USA, India, Vietnam, Ukraine, Turkey, and Iraq. Wow. The CBI program has been earning millions to Grenada for the past 3 years, but it is expected that in 2025 the earnings will reduce significantly. Recently, Richard Duncan, chairman of the CBI committee, said that fewer than 600 applications are expected to be submitted to the CBI for processing for 2025. Why? Because of Grenada's decision to stop accepting Russians to the program. Grenada was the only country accepting Russian applications following the start of the Ukraine Russia war in 2021. In the initial days of the war, Grenada suspended applications from Russia, but that was soon lifted, and hundreds of applications were submitted and approved. The Ministry of Finance has not released the monthly fiscal report for all the months of 2024. The latest available publicly is August 2024, and it shows that CBI revenue is one of the three highest earners for the state. Yes, you heard right. One of the three highest earners for the state, following Customs and Excise in first place and the Inland Revenue Department in second position. Let me ask that question. Hold on there. Who remember how much for the CBI program to qualify? Let me jump on Google real quick because I know it's not a penny. I know it's not a pretty penny. Boy, me can't even say. This light a blind me. How much for the CBI program in Grenada? Whoops. Murder. Let me take a look here. Okay. So if we remember, the minimum investment required for the Grenada Citizenship by Investment Program is $235,000. Okay. And it is made as a donation to the National Transformation Fund. Alternatively, you can invest a minimum of $270,000 in a government approved real estate project. All right. So if you have $270,000 to invest in a government approved property, boom, right there, so CBI. Family inclusion, both options, whether you're going through the NFT donation route, which is a minimum investment of $235,000, or you're going the route of real estate investment, $270,000. Both options allow for the inclusion of eligible family members, but additional fees may apply depending on the number of dependents. All right. Boy. Whew. Now, is this US dollars or is this EC dollars? This I'm not 100% sure. I'm still digging. Go. I think someone opened their mic. Go right ahead. Hey
Yeah,
James, good
yeah, morning.
morning.
Yeah, remember I brought this up sometime last year about the CBI, and that I think it was, I don't remember if it's the UN, but one of those international bodies,
Mm-hmm.
they're putting pressure on the Caribbean countries that are accepting that are part of the whole CBI program.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the reason why they're putting on the pressure, I think, well, an African vlogger was saying that what happened is that the the people like 10-20 years ago, like those programs would have been mostly Europeans, right? But now the face of the program has changed because Nigeria is a big part now, and you have like China and those other countries. So now it's the person was saying, no, it's almost like a scare tactic. Now that they're pressuring the islands because, they're seeing more Nigerians, more Chinese, people from different non-European countries that are taking advantage of the program now. So now they are talking about like, security concerns in the Caribbean. So like the irony that now the face of it has changed. Now they have a problem. They think that the Caribbean countries that are part of it might be harboring like, terrorists or people that are a threat to um, the Caribbean and stuff like that. So I found that to be interesting.
So, James, let me ask the question. Do they not do a deep dive into, don't they do background checks? Don't they ask for, even though one may be able to buy their way in, they don't have a system where they do a background check via, what's the international body that is used? Interpol. They don't do a background check through Interpol. They don't ask reports, yada, yada, yada. They don't ask for none of that, but even though the people may have the money.
Yeah, remember, it's the same process for everybody, right? So
Okay.
it's so crazy that when all the Europeans were, they were like pretty much 90% of the program.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody had any security concern. Nothing changed. The same process. But now that, like there are a lot of Nigerian millionaires and a few billionaires now, and these people are spreading across.
Mm-hmm.
Also now, like investing in other places outside of Africa.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the problem comes in. They don't want the free flow of like people from Africa, people from China and other countries to have access. Because for decades, remember, like a lot of the hotels and stuff you'll find people from Europe that just go there and love it, and they just decide to stay and invest.
Mm-hmm.
But now the face is changing, so now they have a problem.
Okay. I have one more question before I move on. If you know, or if anyone knows, for Caribbean nationals, do we let us say, as a Jamaican, I want to head on over to Grenada, right? Do I have to pay the same amount of money, 235,000 or the 270,000, depending on the route I choose to go, whether it's the NFT donation or government approved property? Do Caribbean nationals have to pay the same amount of money? I think there should be an exception. Anybody know what it is, or it's just the rule for everybody, whether you're a member of CARICOM or not?
No, I don't think it's like if you're part of CARICOM, because remember the whole CARICOM setup was for free flow of like goods and services and skills and stuff like that, include investment. I'm not sure what's the process if you have to. I'm sure money have to be involved, but I don't think it's at the same level as the Citizen by Investment Program, because it's CARICOM. So I think, because I know like even in St. Vincent, they're open to people from other islands.
Mm-hmm.
When you enter the airport to St. Vincent, there's a lot of signs that show that invest in St. Vincent, and it shows you like a website to go on. Like, say if you're anywhere from CARICOM, you can invest there.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's the same process, but I don't know the details.
That would
But
be
it's not the same.
interesting to find out. No, I think,
Yeah,
because
I can do some deep dive in it.
because I am sure someone listening may be like, oh my gosh, I hope that's not what I have to cough up or fork out, because I would like to be able to experience, I would like to be able to move. Let me put it that way. So I'm just wondering. Yeah, when we talk about inter movement, All right. Next up, we're still in Grenada. As this is interesting on the heels of that story. China to provide Grenada with EC $40 million in financial aid. Huh. Okay. Let's see what this one is about. Let me close out that. Hold on. Did I pin the story? Yes, I did pin the story. So let's get into this one, courtesy of nowgrenada.com. Hold on there. I closed out the wrong thing. Bear with me 1 second, folks. Closed out the wrong thing. Ay, ay, ay. Let me go back here. Bear with me 1 moment. Let me pull back up the story. Ay, ay, ay. The 40 million. Where are you? Nowgrenada.com. Where are you? Okay, here we go. Got it. So, according to nowgrenada.com, the Chinese government has agreed to provide Grenada with gratuitous aid of 100 million yen, or 40 million EC dollars, for mutually agreed upon projects. Yes, agreed upon mutually. This financial support was signed in an agreement for economic and technical cooperation during the recent official visit to China by Grenada's Prime Minister, two other ministers of government, and several supporting staff. Though the agreement was signed on 13 January 2025, it was disclosed during a special news conference on January 23, which was yesterday, which featured China's ambassador to Grenada. This 100 million Chinese yuan is equivalent to US $13.7 million, said Ambassador Wei, as he reiterated that this visit to China was an official visit by the government in observance of the 20th anniversary of both states resuming diplomatic ties. The aid shall be used for implementation of mutually agreed projects. Okay, I'm a little thrown off here because I'm trying to understand the EC 40 million, because here it's saying that 100 million yuan is the equivalent of US 13.7 million, but the article is talking about EC. Oh, I guess once it's converted from US to, okay, got it. Okay, my apologies for the distraction there. I'm so sorry about that. All right, so US 13.7 million, and then once converted to EC dollars, it's 40 million EC. Okay. Since resuming diplomatic relations, China has provided Grenada with millions in grants for capital and social projects. These include building the athletic and cricket stadium, road repairs, university scholarships, and training for hundreds of young professionals. Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell, who headed the delegation, first head of government to visit China in 2025. He was accompanied by Ministers Lennox Andrews and Joseph Andal, who hold ministerial posts of economic development and foreign affairs, respectively. The projects that the agreement will cover are yet to be disclosed. Why? Why is there a hesitation to disclose what those projects are? Now that makes me raise an eyebrow. Shouldn't that be something we just make our citizens fully aware of? Why the secret? Is it that there is something, or are there some things that may be questionable? I hope not. I want to believe Prime Minister Mitchell will make reasonable him and him team will make reasonable decisions. Okay. Let me see here. Let me go a little further into the article. 40 million EC is a significant sum which can go a long way in aiding in the development of Grenada. Yes, I would agree. Andrews, who is also the Minister of Agriculture, said an agreement was also signed about a study in the area of agriculture. For the past years, we have an MOU in which China will provide agricultural assistance to the government and people of Grenada. We are now completing the 8th agreement, and we're about to sign the 9th agreement. All right. Okay, besides the agreement for financial aid, Grenada signed other documents, which were either memoranda of understanding or memoranda of agreements, covering a wide range of areas, including agriculture, energy and the environment, renewable energy, arts, culture and tourism, and the blue economy. Okay. All right. Well, if those are the areas and we just don't have the details, is it safe to assume that you know everything is in order? We keep hearing the term blue economy, so let us jump over to Google and remind everyone, including myself, blue economy. What is a blue economy? The blue economy is a concept that involves the sustainable use of ocean resources for economic growth and environmental preservation. It includes activities such as fishing, aquaculture, offshore wind energy, and shipping. So when you hear the term blue economy, it is synonymous, or you can to the ocean, all right, the sea, right? So once again, the blue economy is a concept that involves the sustainable use of ocean resources for economic growth and environmental preservation. All right. So based on this article, and if we remember the previous one, I can understand then why the number of Chinese um, is high. Yeah. Yeah. When you talk about CBI approvals. Yeah. I get it. I get it. We are give
Yeah,
so much money, right? Because remember, a grant is money that does not have to be repaid. Go ahead, James.
yeah. Well, I'd say what me and Motley would say, like, the relationship with China and the Caribbean, if China is having a relationship with American, European countries and people on the outside are not questioning, then we probably shouldn't really question. Like, we should think that the government, that they're capable enough to make good decisions.
Mm-hmm.
But on the flip side of that now, like, I wish that with the time that we're living in, 2025, we're in a modern era where we have technology at our disposal.
Mm-hmm.
I wish, like, we can get to a point where we get the government, because the government, it's kind of crazy to think that, like 50 people for a population of like 300 or 200,000, they can make decisions that will affect the mass of the society without getting them involved.
Mm-hmm.
So I know, like, a referendum and stuff like that is a very expensive and tedious process, but with tech, where you can have like a government information service where you can set up like a poll, and people can use their phone to like text into to see if they approve of it. I feel like, yeah, the government need to, because the citizens, once the party leave office,
Mm-hmm.
any agreement that's made on an international, with whether America, China, or whoever, the citizens are going to have to deal with it for the rest of their life, right? Like, you have
Mm-hmm.
people, like, contracts that are signed for 50 years, and the person who signed it, who are in their 60s and 70s, they're going to be gone when, the younger generation or people that's not even born yet, they're going to have to deal with it. So I think, yeah, they need to find a way to get people involved.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you. Thanks. All right. Next up, we head on over to Jamaica. Belle Navis remains hospitalized after being chopped at beachfront property. Come on, Jamaica. We got to do better. According to Nationwide Radio JM, the mayor of St. Anne's Bay, Michael Belnavis, spent his second night in hospital on Wednesday after being attacked at one of his properties on Monday. He sustained multiple wounds, including to his head. On Wednesday, it emerged that relatives and political operatives close to the mayor were considering moving him overseas as the wounds to the head are worse than initially claimed. Here is Robian Williams to tell us more.
Mayor Michael Belnavis was admitted to hospital Tuesday afternoon after he complained of dizziness and discomfort hours after he had been treated and released from St. Anne's Bay Hospital. In addition to wounds to his head, Mr. Belnavis also received chop wounds to his hand and arm. Sources have been giving Nationwide News details about the attack at an unoccupied beachfront villa the mayor owns near Boscobel, St. Mary. Mr. Belnavis went to the property at 11 Monday night, saw a man sitting in the living room watching television. The man was known to him and had previously been chased from the property by Mr. Belnavis. Mr. Belnavis scolded the man and demanded he should leave. However, in response, the man reached for a machete on the floor and attacked Belnavis, inflicting at least 3 wounds. Belnavis discharged his firearm once. The man was hit in his chest but was still coming at Belnavis, whose gun jammed. With blood streaming down his face, Mayor Belnavis fled to his car and drove more than 20 miles to the St. Anne's Bay Hospital, where he was treated. Police say they picked up a man suffering from a gunshot wound on the road close to the scene of the attack. The man would not give them any information about what happened to him. They later identified him as the main suspect in the attack on Mr. Belnavis. He is in police custody. Senior police sources close to the investigation told Nationwide News that they have issues with motive and some details in the case. However, they said they would not comment at this time. Robian Williams for Nationwide News.
Based on this article, yeah, there seems to be some things that need to come to the surface for us to have a deeper understanding, because the person is known to him and the person was sitting there waiting on him. There is some grievance with him, but I guess the police will let us know. All right. Next up, also in Jamaica, speed initiative established to ease doing business. So when I saw this article, I was like, them I listen. Yeah, them I listen to it. Somebody tapping into caffeine too. Haven't we complained here several times about how difficult it is to conduct business in Jamaica? The nuances that exist. Yes, we have. Yes, we have. Yes, we have spoken about it. All right. So let us go ahead and jump into this article, courtesy of Nationwide Radio J. The government has established a new task force to improve the ease of doing business in the country. Prime Minister Andrew Holness announced the streaming processes for efficiency and economic development, the acronym SPEED initiative. Yes, this initiative is at the Jamaica Stock Exchange Regional Investments and Capital Markets. I'm sorry. The announcement was made at the Jamaica Stock Exchange Regional Investments and Capital Markets Conference that was held in Kingston on Tuesday. He says it's going to be launched in February. So let us take a listen and hear what he has to say.
To achieve rapid economic growth, we aim to become the most business-friendly and citizen-focused country in the region. With our debt to GDP ratio now significantly reduced, it is time to streamline these systems, simplify approvals, reduce wait times, and eliminate outdated barriers and unnecessary layers of bureaucracy. This effort benefits not only large investors, but also micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. Efficient government processes will also make it easier and faster for citizens to interact with public agencies. To drive this transformation, I will appoint the Speed Task Force, streamlining processes for efficiency and economic development. Speed, and we will do that by the end of February.
The Speed Task Force forms part of the Aspire Jamaica Growth Policy, which was announced in November. And remember, we have that one. We spoke about that rather. If you want to be reminded, if you'd like to be reminded of the Aspire Jamaica Growth Policy, head on over to the Coffee Into YouTube channel, and we do have that article there. We did discuss it. Yeah, you may go ahead and do that. The Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the mechanism will ensure the country's business environment meets world-class standards.
The task force will identify bottlenecks, recommend actionable solutions, and deliver tangible outcomes within specified timelines. We are implementing a phased process of digitalizing government services that interface with businesses and citizens. The days of standing in long lines and navigating through mountains of paperwork will come to an end. We will be rolling out end-to-end digital systems for business registration, tax filing, and permit approvals. Our e-government platforms will be designed to ensure that e-services are accessible anytime, anywhere, and on any device. The foundation upon which all of these digital services will be built is a new digital national identification, which has already gone live and is scheduled for full rollout early this year.
All right, so that was Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. Speed, again, streaming says for efficiency and economic development. And that is supposed to ease your being able to do business in the country, right? So we have a new task that is going to improve the processes that are currently in place. So Jamaicans and those desirous, Jamaicans across the diaspora, desirous of doing business in Jamaica, we shouldn't hear any complaints going forward, right? No? We need to test the system, right, James? Go right ahead.
This year's an election year, right?
James, come on now. Be nice.
No, it's a good idea. It sounds, but I guess it's politics. Like the good ideas always come up election year, but nevertheless, hopefully they get to execute it before, because we don't want a case where they don't execute it and then the election come and they change government and you hear that they couldn't do it because of that. But it's a good idea though, because they need that.
Yes, and he did say it is going to meet world-class standards. What does that look like? I don't know. What are world-class standards? Are we talking about the time frame within which we're able to have things processed and gain the approval of whatever it is that we need the approval for? I don't know. Are we removing certain requirements? I am interested in knowing
No,
exactly
I think
what it involves.
no, I think the better use of technology, right?
Mhm.
Because like some of the things that you do at tax office, just say you can say and do it from your laptop, instead of having the bottleneck every time you go to tax office, you have to set aside the entire day.
Mm-hmm.
That could be one of the process, and then to get projects approved, like if you are doing like infrastructure changes, sometimes the time takes way too long, to get like a plan approved to build like an apartment, a house, or stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So things like those. And as you said, world class, I would say probably a Chinese class things sound better, because China do it better than anyone else. Because the reality is, like America and Canada,
Uh-huh.
um, they don't really operate like a world standard per se. Like you have different states that have a higher standard than other states. Like for example, with like Los Angeles now, they're talking about now like these infrastructure, the houses that are burned down in and how the process there to get like a plan approved to rebuild. Like the politicians, they're really going to have to take a deep look into it, because if they use the same old system that they have now, it's going to take like decades for Los Angeles, for those areas that are burned out, to come back, because they move like snail pace with certain things. And Toronto, we have the same problem too, right? So I know it sounds like more of a Chinese standard, getting from start to finish like in no time.
All right, thank you for that, James. And moving right along, we're still in Jamaica as Jamaica announces weekly non-stop Portugal to Montego Bay flights. All right, let us dive into this one, courtesy of CaribbeanNationalWeekly.com. Jamaica's tourism sector is set for a significant boost as the planned weekly non-stop flights from Lisbon, Portugal to Montego Bay St. James are already showing strong demand, with 50% occupancy months ahead of the scheduled summer launch. The announcement was made by officials from World to Meet, the travel and tourism division of the Spanish hotel and tourism giant Iberostar Group, which operates World to Fly. The news was shared during the 45th edition of the International Tourism Fair, currently taking place in Madrid, Spain. Tourism stakeholders are optimistic that the Lisbon Montego Bay flights are fully booked by March. Strong early demand. Woohoo! Congratulations! Big up on us all. These flights operated by the state-of-the-art Airbus A350, which has a seating capacity of around 432 passengers. World to Fly, which specializes in leisure routes to Caribbean destinations, offers flights from both Spain and Portugal. The service is expected to provide a seamless travel experience between Europe and the Caribbean. In response to the announcement, Jamaica's tourism minister Edmund Bartlett emphasized the significance of the new flights in strengthening the country's ties to European markets and boosting its tourism sector. This new route underscores the growing appeal of Jamaica as a destination for European travelers. It also reflects our continuous efforts to diversify and expand our tourism markets. Portugal is one of Europe's fastest growing travel hubs, and Jamaica is poised to attract a diverse range of visitors, further supporting their tourism driven economies. Okay, all right, bring it on. Jamaica on a ready feet, on a angle it. Well, we have to import more ice from Medley, Florida.
The-
I hope, hold on, James. I'm saying that facetiously, but I sincerely hope the government will back the rebuilding of the ice factory that was built, as well as helping to build more than one facility, especially along the north coast, in parishes, for example, or in the towns, the tourist towns, for example, Negril, Montego Bay, Ocho Rios, somewhere along the north coast in St. Anne. Go ahead, James. Go right ahead.
yeah, so this is good news, but for me, I don't understand the fascination with, is it, we're just thinking about, is it just money or is it like a mindset? Because we've seen in the past 10 years or so an increase in air traffic coming from Europe into, in particular, Montego Bay.
Mm-hmm,
Like they're establishing new routes coming into Jamaica from Europe.
mm-hmm,
But we don't see, because Portugal is just 10 million people, right?
mm-hmm.
As opposed to Nigeria with 230 or so million. Is it a thing that Nigerians, we know Nigerians have money, but is it that it's not like a tourism market that we could see, that we could tap into? So maybe we might have to do some research. Maybe European people, because they live in the cold, they a flight to Jamaica is more appealing to them. Maybe Nigerians are not going to like have the same urge to just fly to Jamaica to enjoy sun and sea or whatever. But I just find it interesting that over the past 10 years, we have seen flights from Germany, we have seen flight from different parts of Europe, like straight flight coming into Jamaica, but we don't see the same effort put out for like Nigeria, for like Ghana, which with bigger population, and Africa have the fastest growing middle class right now for the past 10 years or so. The middle class in Africa is growing, so I think they have the money to spend. So I'm just curious why we're not trying to
But
tap
James,
into those markets.
remember, no, I think we've had the discussion here. Not think, we have had the discussion here several times, and I think you even mentioned it on your YouTube channel, talking about the ease of access and how cumbersome it is to get to travel to the gateway between the Caribbean and Africa, and that there are things being put in motion now to ease it. We spoke about, I think up to this week or last week, we also highlighted that there was a time, even to move within the continent of Africa, you had to go to some part of Europe and come back. So based on that alone, it is going to be easier to get folks from Europe to the Caribbean. We take them in, we welcome them from that gate, that excuse me, I'm distracted here, something just popped up. We earn from them being able to come here because of the ease of access, while we work on opening up and making it easier for Africans to travel to the Caribbean. No?
No, but the thing is, like, Europeans have always been coming to the Caribbean, right? But the thing is, like, if you're coming from Portugal, Germany, Italy, and you're coming to Jamaica 15, 20 years ago, you are flying through the UK. Like, you're still using one of the gateway city that other countries have to use, like if you're coming from Africa or anywhere. So the fact now that we can establish straight flights coming in from Portugal, straight flights coming in from Germany. And from what I'm hearing, from one of the last conversation that Mia Monthly had, like, she's giving the impression now that the red tapes are like moved away. Like, there's no longer the red tapes that's going to stop air traffic from coming in now.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is now demand and supply, and does it make good business sense? So based on that, if you can get a straight flight coming from Portugal, because there's no red tape that's going to stop you from using that airspace to get straight in, you should be able to have a straight flight from Nigeria. Nigeria have different airlines that are operated in Nigeria by African investors and different investors. So should CARICOM be sitting down with Nigeria, Ghana, and say, look, let us do some research and see if we have something that we can make it profitable. Because based on what Mia Motley said the last time she spoke about this, it's not about the red tapes anymore. It's about business. If it don't make business, it don't make sense. And if we're having flights coming from Nigeria, we're going to have to make sure that all the seats are filled, because if you have 20 empty seats, investors are not going to want to do it. So based on that thing, I believe that the Caribbean, we need to do some more to see if we can establish these flights, because that's 230 million
I get
potential people. You know?
I get it, James. But before I hand the mic over to Mr. President, let me say this too. I have to agree. If it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense. Another thing that we cannot ignore is that if you want to talk about Nigeria and Nigerians in particular, but a lot of Africans are not really desirous of going to countries where they're where we have descendants of Africans. They are more inclined to want to go to Europe. They think going to Europe is the thing. They don't want to see sea and sun and sand. No, they want to be able to talk about going to Paris and Luxembourg and wherever else, because they are more focused on acquiring or attaining European standards, unfortunately. So I think it's a harder sell because of the mindset. A lot of them feel that, okay, we have some money. Where are we going? We're going to Europe. We have the same problem here in the West. We have a lot of folks here, young people of color, who tell them want to go Paris. You never really hear them say them want to go Africa. They want to go to Europe. They want to go to Italy. They want to go to Spain. They want to go to Portugal. They want to go to Europe. So first of all, we have to combat the mindset. Go right ahead, Mr. President. I know you wanted to say something.
Yeah, morning. Yeah, this issue is multifaceted, and you and James highlight a lot of the stuff like the regular route from Europe, etc. Something we have to look at also, right? As you said, as I was going to talk about, is the feasibility when it comes to getting the planes full and establishing the market properly. What I think we have to do as a region, as CARICOM, we have Ethiopian Airlines, which is the biggest carrier out of Africa, who basically fly throughout Africa, all right? We have to look at negotiations that put airlines like Ethiopian Airlines and say, listen, you can establish a new route to the Caribbean. And originally, it might be where they do an island hop, like they do 2 or 3 Africa, and then come. Okay, Ghana and Nigeria is close. You could go from Ghana to Nigeria, or Nigeria to Ghana, and then to let's say Barbados, which is a hub in the Caribbean, which is feasible and which would allow you to tap into more than one market. Another thing again too, as you said, a lot of Africans don't want to come to Caribbean, but let me tell you the truth. A lot of Africans do not really know about the Caribbean like that. Because when you're traveling through Africa and they ask you where you're from and they tell them in the Caribbean, and you start to show them, even they go and they pull up the pictures of the beaches, and they love it. A lot of people love it, but they don't know about it, and the current cost to go is prohibitive.
Right.
So one thing we also have to bear in mind is all the European airlines are subsidized to travel to our country, heavily subsidized. American Airlines and the Deltas and stuff, they are paid by our governments to land in our countries in the interest of tourism. So if we're subsidizing the European airlines that much, why can't we start subsidizing an African, like let's say Ethiopian airline, and subsidize them, even if it's a once a month flight to the Caribbean, and bring them in? Then why can't we look at partnership with somebody like the Ethiopian airline that is operating within Africa, to see if we could establish some kind of partnership with an airline service in the Caribbean where we could partner with somebody like that? Because the European airlines and the traditional airlines, they're not interested in us. Let's look at people who expand, who is looking to do different things. Make a partnership with some established airline. I said African airline is good, like Ethiopian airline is good, where we could re-establish a proper flight system throughout the region like Liet. But the governments of the region has to know, just based on the size of the market and logistics, and so that they have to subsidize it also. How we could subsidize American airline, and we can find a proper model to subsidize an airline in the region that can take people from one country to the next at a reasonable price and increase the regional integration, increase back the tourism within the Caribbean, which has been is a significant part of tourism. We always look at the external. Regional tourism has been significant if we look at the figures over the years. Why can't we establish that so that when you make a deal with an African airline to bring somebody into the Caribbean, they can easily move from one island to the next and have an experience that they would not get in any other destination? Similar cultures. For instance, St. Vincent, 25, 30 minutes away from Barbados? There is no reason why you can't just hop over to St. Vincent on an airline for a few days. There is no reason why you can't hit St. Vincent, Grenada, St. Lucia in 1 week. Spending 2 days or 2 days or 2 days. And all these packages can be linked at a regional level where all the players get money. It's like an all-inclusive tour then, where you have packages and options within the all-inclusive, but that money is cut up again with the different stakeholders. But just the activity, the economic activity that will be generated in the region, one, from getting a robust airline system in the region operating efficiently, and two, from tapping into non-national markets like the Nigerians, the Ghanas, and the Africa. Not only would it be bringing us closer with the people in the diaspora to the homeland, because the opposite will also be true. There is a lot of people who wants to go to Africa, but sometimes they just find it prohibitive to pass through Europe or and expensive. So they're just like, you know what, I can't deal with that. But if you could leave Barbados and be in Ghana in a few hours, a lot of people will go to Ghana.
Yes.
And these are the kind of mindset we have to start to think as leaders in the region to get out of the chokehold we have. Because if we develop a market that is so diverse, that we have the figures coming from Africa, Latin America, South America, and those places frequenting the region more, then it means the Europeans, airlines, and the European countries don't have that chokehold on us with tourism. So we could negotiate better deals. We could tell you, listen, we're not paying you to land anymore. You land if you feel like. Stuff like that.
So I want to thank you for that, Mr. President. I totally embrace everything you have said. So I want to pin the comment. Well, I have pinned the comment on YouTube. Thank you, ME, for the comment. We have been so brainwashed that Africa is bad that we seek other places to go. But the times, they are a changing, according in the words of Bob Dylan. Indeed. So it is a lot of stripping away of old ideas, right? Old beliefs and so on and so forth. And once we're able to strip those away, then we can replace those ideas with the new ones, right? And we do that through awareness when we have conversation. And with as we have said so many times, with the advent of social media, thank God for technology, and awareness is easier to come around. No, it is just still working to change the mindset. But yeah, ease of access is also important. Go ahead, James, and then we're going to move on to another article which is related to this one as well. Go ahead.
Yeah. So one of the things to, based on what I know personally, say 25 years ago, I went to one of the super clubs resort because I used to work closely with the ISAs. When you go to the super club resort 25 years ago, I would go there, and when you look, I'm trying to find a black person on the resort, and it's hard. You can't find another black person. Fast forward in 2024, 2025, there's a report came out, and I saw one of the owners, the local owners of one of the small resort Strip, Negro Strip, the
Mhm.
Jamaican owner,
Mhm.
and he's saying that and you can see it in real time when you travel to Jamaica. Ask anybody who go to the all-inclusive hotels. African Americans are coming to Jamaica more than any time in Jamaica's history. They're going other places in the Caribbean more than any other time because 25, 30 years ago, as crazy as it might sound, there are people, African Americans, that thought that coming to the Caribbean, you would get like pick up some cholera or some rabies or some crazy thing. So they didn't find it. No, seriously.
I
So
believe you.
over the years, and I've seen like African Americans come into like Bermuda and stuff like that, and they're fascinated that we have air condition, we have all these type of stuff. But with the advent of social media and everything you see now, this business owner said like African Americans is a big part of the Jamaican market, and he said one of the benefits that he's seen personally is that when African Americans start traveling to Jamaica now,
Mhm.
a lot of them are looking for black-owned Jamaican hotels. So he's getting a lot of business from African Americans. So the same thing is that if African Americans were so close, a stone throw away from each other, if they can think that the Caribbean is so backward, what about Africa? These people in Africa, they don't know anything about us apart from Bob Marley. So, education, we just need to go out and educate because the market is there.
As you said that, I wonder how money is pumped into tourism ads. For example, here in the US, you constantly see, I know Sandals pumps a lot of money into marketing as it relates to its presence on the television because every day, every day you do see a Sandals ad, right? Is anybody pumping that kind of money into, let's say, Nigeria or Ghana, South Africa? Because remember, with advertising, it has to be constantly in your face, right? And then people will succumb at some point and say, okay, let me check this out. Let me check this out. But if there is no advertising being done in those markets, how can we expect to gain from them? Isn't that a reasonable thing to question? I don't know. All right, moving right along. Our next article, we're still in Jamaica and we're still talking about tourism. Jamaican tourism workers to receive full non-taxable gratuity. Now, this sounds like something good. Yes. Look at protesting, eh? That's what look at protesting can do. Behave yourself moments. All right. According to Caribbean National Weekly, Jamaican tourism workers will now receive their full non-taxable gratuity, along with improved access to housing, professional development, and retirement security. This is according to Minister of Tourism, Edmund Bartlett. The announcement came after a significant meeting between Bartlett and in Verrotel. Am I seeing that right? I think I'm seeing it right. I don't have on my glasses. Can't wear my glasses while I'm at this. And this is a major Spanish hotel investment group in the International Tourism Trade Fair in Madrid, Spain on Wednesday. Bartlett emphasized that the discussions were crucial in improving labor market conditions for Jamaica's tourism sector. Of course, which he called the backbone of Jamaica's tourism sector. In Verotel, a powerful consisting of 18 hotel brands operating around 100,000 rooms across the Americas and the Caribbean, has committed to a multifaceted plan aimed at benefiting Jamaican tourism workers. The group includes well-known brands such as Rio Hotels and Resorts, Princess Hotels and Resorts, Catalonia Hotels and Resorts, Grupo Pinero, H10 Resorts, and Palladium Hotel Group. According to a release from the Ministry of Tourism, the discussions focused on a comprehensive strategy to improve three key areas for workers, and they are housing accessibility, professional development through training and retirement security. Bartlett underscored the importance of a new initiative designed to improve the well being and professional growth of Jamaican tourism workers. He stated, "Our tourism workers are the heart and soul of Jamaica's hospitality sector. This represents the commitment of our largest investors to our workers' well being and professional growth, ensuring a sustainable future for both our employees and the sector." The plan, developed in collaboration with Envirotel, includes affordable housing solutions, as was mentioned earlier, ensuring tourism workers have access to suitable accommodations. It also guarantees full gratuity payments and encourages participation in the tourism workers' pension scheme to secure social security during retirement. So when I see the part, or when I saw the part that highlighted full gratuity payments, who were they sharing the gratuity payments with? Who was holding on to some of the gratuity payments? Is it
Yeah,
that the gratuity payment, okay, when the gratuity is in, is it divvied up get, amongst the kitchen staff, those who clean the rooms, the groundsmen, so on and so forth? Go ahead, James.
yeah. So this, I did a video the other day about the tourism minister, and yes, that is tourism is not a difficult sector to manage, right? You have fun while you're working, pretty much. But um, with all of that said, he's been the most effective tourism minister. Like since I've been a part of tourism in Jamaica, since I've been watching Jamaica tourism for the past 30 years, he's been the most effective one. And and what I said is that if this tourism minister, if Mr. Edmund Bartlett can get um, fair wages, like whether implement like a minimum wage or to do something across the island where will drastically change how people in the tourism industry, he'll go down not only as the best, because in my opinion, he's already the best tourism minister in the history of Jamaica. He's going to go down as overall one of the best minister, whether PMP, GLP, he will go down as the best or one of the best minister in history, regardless of which area. And this gratuity thing is a big thing because, as I mentioned several times, gratuity, when I was working in Jamaica, gratuity was like 1.5, sometimes 2 times your regular paycheck. So if your hourly paycheck is like $15,000 a week, your gratuity in the busy season, your gratuity could be $30,000. So you would take home $45,000 in the peak season based on gratuity. Over the years, what they have done is that the way our gratuity works, it's like a tax. So like if it's like a 15% gratuity and the hotel makes $1 million for the month, the 15% of that $1 million goes in a pool and is divvied across for all the staff. It should cover housekeeping, dining room, kitchen, everybody. But what happened over the years is that managers started doing it. So managers were getting gratuity that should not be getting gratuity. They were using gratuity for other expenses. And gratuity is like a tip. It's not supposed to be used for expenses. Like it's not supposed to be used to like replenish like glass if your glass is broken, if a plate is broken, if like cutlery disappear. So that's what they have done over the years. They've dipped in it to use it to replenish a lot of stuff for the hotels and the restaurants. So if he can come up with something that say, okay, this gratuity is only for staff, not for managers, not for general managers. It's not supposed to use to replace for call it breakage. A percentage of it is not for breakage. A percentage is not for electricity or whatever. Everything goes to staff. That would be a big game changer. That'd be one of the biggest game changer in hospitality in Jamaica in history. And I guarantee you, all those guys is sitting down, rubbing up them hands, smoking. These guys will go work in the hotel if they can make, like at least double what they would have been getting now. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's a good news.
It's a good look.
Good look, yeah.
James,
No tax on.
the only thing, James, hold on one second there, Mr. President. The only thing, James, it's such a pity that this only came about because of the strike. But go right ahead, Mr. President. Go right ahead.
I think James have to give the dear minister a call. James has some solid. James, you might get a commission for that call, man.
Yes, indeed. So the annual strategic meeting comes on the heels of a series of strikes by Jamaican hotel workers late last year, which threatened to disrupt the country's vital tourism industry. Workers, of course, we remember, expressed frustration over long working hours, low wages, and poor communication from their employers rather. The new initiative aims to address these concerns with a focus on improving workers' conditions and ensuring long-term sustainability for both the workforce and the sector. See, sometimes things have to get really bad before they get better. It is such a shame that this is the stance, or this is what has to happen before people are taken seriously. People shouldn't have to take drastic action. Go right ahead, Mr. President.
Well, you see, we have to give the current Minister of Tourism some kudos because he has been doing a good job.
Yeah.
And the fact that he could even help come up with these solutions or looking, oftentimes you find these things really go and get swept below the rug and they're not brought in the main focus. So for years, people might be complaining, but because nobody is listening and is never up with a level of seriousness, the improvement that can be made is just not made. The fact that the tourism minister seems to be reasonably proactive and stuff like that, also, it means that he is now looking for ways to make things better. And just the fact that he is looking could make a big difference because you will start to hear what's going on the ground. So we have to give him kudos for because we usually slam the ministers when they're not doing too good.
We're not slamming.
This minister is trying. Yeah, this minister is trying. He's doing a reasonable job.
Yeah. We have highlighted that. Yeah, we have mentioned that several times, Mr. President, and you're absolutely right. We have to give credit where credit is due, right? When it's due, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Mom. And the thing with tourism too, like sometimes people tend to downplay tourism in the Caribbean and think that it's like a servitude type of position, and I know that in the Caribbean we have to diversify and we have to find other ways to make money, right? But the reality is like tourism is like the bread and butter for the Caribbean, and when you look at tourism is not like an afterthought kind of thing, because when you look at New York, people don't talk about tourism in New York, but New York bringing billions of dollars because people just want to go to Times Square, they want to do all these type of stuff. That is tourism. Toronto, like Niagara Falls, on both sides, the Canadian side and the US side. Niagara is a small town with probably less than 20,000 people or so. And the amount of money that Niagara Falls bring in, both on the Canadian side and on the America side, is more than probably every single Caribbean island, apart from like the big ones, like the smaller islands. Niagara Falls bring in more money than all of the small island nations combined. They bring in millions of dollars per year. So tourism is a big deal. So to have these people working, and if you can guarantee them what they deserve, what they work for, is not handout. Gratuity is what they work for. If you can give them what they work for, that is going to make a big change. I guarantee you, like if this gets done, you're not going to see any strike this year. You're not going to see people protesting and more people that didn't even like tourism. Because when I was working in the hotel, like I go to the bank, I used to see moments. Used to work at the bank, so on the bougie and staying on the high heels and nails well done and stuff like that. And when I used to go there, I used to and them girls see my check, they were like, yeah, wait and make so much money, you make twice what me I make. You know, that's how the bank tellers used to say, like, oh my gosh, like I need to be a waiter or waitress. So yeah, I need to get it done.
All right, thank you all so much. We're going to keep it moving in our next article. U.S. Coast Guard to boost Florida security to curb illegal migration from Caribbean. This article of CaribbeanNationalWeekly.com. The U.S. Coast Guard has launched immediate actions to strengthen maritime border security in response to executive orders issued by the White House on January 21. Acting Commandant Admiral Kevin Lunde announced a surge in Coast Guard assets across key maritime regions, including the Florida Straits and Caribbean waters. And this is to deter illegal activities and curb maritime migration from and Cuba. The U.S. Coast Guard is the world's premier maritime law enforcement agency, vital to protecting America's maritime borders, territorial integrity, and sovereignty, he said. Per the president's executive orders, I have directed my operational commanders to immediately surge cutters, aircraft, boats, and deployable specialized forces. The enhanced measures focus on several regions, the Florida Straits and Caribbean waters, to deter maritime mass migration from Haiti and Cuba, the Bahamas South Florida maritime border to address illicit activities in a key trafficking route, U.S. territories in the Pacific and the Caribbean, including Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and Guam, the Gulf of Mexico and Texas-Mexico maritime border, addressing illegal migration and trafficking, referred to as the Gulf of America. Sorry. Really? The Gulf of Mexico, but he referred to it as the Gulf of America in the announcement. So Caribbean migration trends. The Florida Straits have been a hotspot for migration from Haiti and Cuba, but maritime arrivals in recent months. Land arrivals have dropped from near daily occurrences to fewer than one per month. While Haitian arrivals surged between 2022 and 2023, the journeys were less frequent but involved larger vessels and groups. Despite ongoing turmoil in Haiti, including escalating violence by armed gangs, maritime migration from the country has significantly decreased. The most recent large arrival in South Florida that happened in June when a sailboat carrying about 120 Haitian migrants landed in Key West. The Coast Guard's boasted presence also aims to address these migration trends while targeting other illicit activities such as drug smuggling. So I think drug smuggling is the real concern here, not so much migration. Because if based on these numbers, I don't think the migration is such a huge. But anyway, can we really stop it? Is there any real way to stop the according to them, quote, illegal migration? Is there any real way to stop it?
Yeah, the thing, because if you notice, nobody's jumping on a boat from Barbados, nobody's coming from St. Vincent. You know, like people can use the Caribbean. The Caribbean Sea is like vast and beautiful, and people can jump on anywhere from in the Caribbean on a boat and say they want to go to America. But the two countries that they're coming from are countries that have been destabilized by the same people that's complaining. So all you have to do is restore these countries. Take your knees off the necks of these countries and prosper, because Cuba is going to prosper within no time if they lift the embargo. Trust me.
But isn't
Cuba,
that what we've been saying though? Yeah, we've been preaching that. Mia Motley said it.
No, because when you go to okay, I have personal experience with Cuba, and you see the people. You see people dancing in the streets and celebrating and drinking their beers and having fun. I'm like, are these people really under an embargo? And I watched his interview with a young man that worked with Digicel, a Jamaican guy, and he's heading up a big position in Haiti. And he said when he went to Haiti, he said I've never seen people so loving. He said even the men just embrace him. And he's like, when he just got there, he'll push them off and say, yo, me a Jamaican, no, you know? And he's like, no, he's like, that's how they operate there. Like the guys will hug you and they'll kiss you on your cheek and they'll stuff like that. And he said that he's the most loving people that he's ever come in contact with. People from Haiti. Remember, the same people that eat cats and dog and all these type of stuff. Most loving people that he's ever seen. Let the countries prosper. Like they're close. America should have a lot of interest because they're your next door neighbors, right? If your next door neighbors are doing good, them now go come over your house and thief your food or thief your phone.
But
So let your neighbors do good.
But James, we have to remember the flip side of that conversation. If the neighbors are doing well, that is going to affect America's position. Let's just leave it right there. Mr. President, you were going to say something? Or we keep it moving?
No, James made this the point, exact point I was going to make.
Okay.
And when they're talking about the migration from Haiti, when did it get heavy? When they went and killed the president.
Jovenel Moise, yeah.
Yes, that's when the whole big migration, as much trouble as Haiti was in, and as much as they were struggling through all the earthquakes and stuff, they were not mass migrating like that until they went and destabilized the country even further.
2021.
Exactly. They destabilized the country further. As to the Cubans, they were the ones encouraging the Cubans to come to Florida. To the point that as a Cuban touched the sand in Florida, he's get all his citizenship, all his papers. They was for decades they encouraging Cubans to run from Cuba.
That's a whole nother conversation for a whole.
And as James said, I don't know any other country where anybody's. I don't know anybody getting on no boat in Grenada and say they're going to America. No Barbados, no St. Lucia, not even Trinidad. No. People will ask you if you're crazy. You're mad. So all they have to do, as James said, ease of the blockade on Cuba, stop destabilizing Haiti. And the kind of money they allocate for that, to go and pick up 3 and 4 people, if they find them, come on.
Yeah, something is off with that. But you know how it go already. All right, thank you so much for your input on that one. It is time for us to move on to our next segment, stories out of Latin America, Las Noticias. And I think we only have one in this segment today. Dominican Republic detains nearly 2,000 Haitian migrants in weekend operation. This one comes to us courtesy of CaribbeanNationalWeekly.com. All right. The Dominican Republic announced a significant operation targeting illegal migration of the Haitian community, detaining nearly 2,000 individuals over the weekend. According to a statement issued by the Army, 1,936 Haitians were intercepted by motorized patrols while traveling on foot through various border communities. In addition to the detainees, authorities arrested 9 Dominican nationals accused of transporting Haitian migrants in vehicles ranging from motorcycles to minibuses. These arrests highlight what officials describe as an increasingly organized effort to facilitate irregular migration into the Dominican Republic. This weekend's operation is part of a crackdown on Haitian immigration, which intensified in recent years amid mounting tensions between the two neighboring nations. Earlier this month, the Directorate General of Migration, DGM, revealed that more than 250,000 Haitians were removed from the Dominican Republic in 2024. The agency reported that 276,215 individuals were either deported or repatriated after being found in irregular migratory situations. The DGM also emphasized that these actions were carried out in accordance with international human rights agreements. However, human rights organizations have frequently criticized the Dominican Republic's treatment of Haitian migrants, alleging instances of racial profilings, separations, and inadequate living conditions for detainees. I have a question. Is it the entire Haiti that is in turmoil? No. Is it possible for the Haitians, instead of moving or trying to get out of Haiti altogether, can they move to the northern part of Haiti? Because Port-au-Prince is on the south, right? Is it possible for them to move to the north instead of trying to go across the Dominican Republic? Because for years, the Dominicans are not in favor of the Haitians. Make me not sit down and pretend. They're not very welcoming. Even though you have Haitians who go across to the Dominican Republic legally and work, and then they go back home, just like we have the Mexicans that come to the US every day, work, and then go back home at the end of the day. There's not a part in Haiti that they can go to. If it's not Port-au-Prince, if not Natal. Go ahead, Mr. President.
Once you have people, a group of people fleeing any country because of must move to another part of the country. That seldom happens, no matter how big it is. You understand? Especially when you have political issues, when you have the gangs, when people is afraid for their life. They're just trying to go to somewhere they could at least have some kind of peace. Okay? And if you know the Haitian people is a very proud people. All we need to do is grant them self-determination. Stop sponsoring terrorism. Stop assassinating their leaders, because that is what they have been doing.
Right.
When Aristide was coming along and seemingly would have made the country more peaceful and could look to progress, you went and you remove Aristide from power. You killed Juvenal Maurice. They just need to leave the Haitians alone.
Right.
Stop destabilizing the country. Most Haitians prefer to stay in Haiti. You understand? They prefer to, but the situation is so grave. And they know it's the external forces that's doing it. That's they don't want the UN there and stuff like that. They know. The Haitians are not stupid. They know what is going on. But I think everybody talking about sending them back and whatever. Why don't we focus some more on trying to get some stability in Haiti? Instead of the people that's running from the craziness that's going on. Let's focus a little more on helping the Haitian situation to stabilize, to find some normalcy, and let the country thrive on its own, man. And once we could get these things happening, we would see much more progress. And I want to see the Caribbean leaders being more vocal. And I know they was part of the peace process, but we have to start to be more vocal. We have to start to put more things in place to accommodate the Haitian people. We have to put more things in place to help to broker some peace and stability in that country. You understand? Even the Dominican Republic, they have to be more understanding. Because sooner or later, I could guarantee you, as soon as Haiti is settled, no Haitian will be going to the DR, because they would be better off in their country. But the Caribbean has to play a much better role. Go ahead, James.
Yeah, I was saying, Dominican Republic is still a part of the Caribbean, right? For me, like, I can't understand it, because since I've been following the politics and everything that is going on, as you said, the Caribbean, I have to say that I'm proud of how the Caribbean handled themselves in 2024. It's almost like CARICOM sat down together and they wrote a script and everybody was in one accord. I've never seen that ever in Caribbean politics. Every single Caribbean, I watch almost all the representative from the Caribbean at the UN. I spend hours listening, and all of them, some of them sound like they were forced to do it, like someone put a gun to their head and say, read this, like the Jamaican Prime Minister, not the Jamaican Prime Minister, but what's her name? The foreign minister. She didn't sound as confident, but she still did it, right?
Who, Camino?
Camino, yeah, she didn't sound as confident, and there's a few others that didn't sound, but Trinidad, St. Vincent, Guyana, like quite a few of them, they sound very, very forceful. Me and Motley, like people were walking out when she was talking. That's how forceful she was. And to see Dominican Republic is the one country or island, whatever you want to call it, that should see that it would be the biggest benefit to them for Haiti that's stable. Like if Haiti is stable and doing well, that is going to be a good reflection with Dominican Republic too, because they're not going to have people trying to come across their country or whatever. But I've never seen anybody from that country step up and say, forcefully to the American government, because it's like a shame tactics. When you go to UN and you're calling out these leaders, it's like you're shaming them in front of the world. And I've never seen any of these politicians from Dominican Republic doing that. And that's one thing I said, I would never set foot back into that country again. The way how they treat people, not only people from Haiti, but just the way they treat people. And even when you go there, the people just seem a bit different. You don't get that warm, loving Caribbean vibes or whatever. They just seem a bit different. So I don't know. I think they need to step up and do the right thing and stop treating these people like they're not from the same land. It's the same land, so they need to do better.
Yeah. So relations have been hostile between them, right, for a while now. And according to Google, they're saying that it's due to substantial ethnic and cultural differences, historic conflicts, territorial disputes, and the sharing of the island Hispaniola. I feel as though the Dominican Republic, not forget, no remember them history, right? There has long been friction between Haitians and Dominicans along this part of the border, the Dejabon River, also known as the Massacre River, in reference to Spanish settlers who killed French buccaneers in the 1920s. I don't think the Dominicans remember their history, and they are more alike than they are apart. They share similar history, a similar history. A one
Yeah, but
people. At the end of the day, a one people. It's just that one has more European influence or more Spanish influence, and the other side has more French influence. But they're both European influenced countries. But go right ahead.
But moments, you have to realize too, there's a sect in the Dominican Republic who don't even see themselves as Caribbean, who don't even, some of them don't even see themselves as black in the
Because of
sense.
the brainwashing.
You understand what I'm saying? And to James' point, Haiti contribute tremendously to the economics of the Dominican Republic. You understand? That's why when they had the dispute and they had closed the gate, they was losing so much millions because a lot of Haitian come across and they trade with Dominican Republic. So as you said, it is in the Dominican Republic the best interest to ensure a stable Haiti because it's beneficial for both countries. As a matter of fact, it's one country, the European split up. So.
The country is known as Hispaniola.
Yeah, and the liberation because of like Haiti, right? The liberation is because of Haiti. The only thing is that like Dominican Republic is like almost when the country was liberated, they split and they went back to their oppressors, and the oppressors started treating them a little bit better, right? But it's the same. It's like Saint Martin and Saint Martin. It's one island split in two. And as I said, like I've had conversation because I used to work with a guy from a couple of guys from Dominican Republic, and these guys are as African as you can get, dark skin, like big African guys. And I'm standing up, having conversation with these guys as a Jamaican who sometimes people say, "Oh, I'm not black enough" or whatever because you have lighter complexion. And I'm standing up in front of these two men as black men, and I'm having a black conversation. And these men are looking at me and say, "I'm not black." And I'm like, the first time we had the conversation, I almost like dropped to the floor. I am not black. These guys are like as African as I say, you can see, like dark skin, big guys. And these guys are, and I'm like, so what are you? We're not black. We're Spanish. I'm like, so you're not from African descent? No. I'm like, okay, conversation finished. You're not African. That's it. Crazy.
All right. So thank you, gentlemen. Just in from CaribbeanNationalWeekly.com, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has warned that gangs in Haiti could soon overrun the capital Port-au-Prince, leading to a total collapse of government authority unless more international support is provided to the struggling national police. In a report released ahead of a Council meeting on Wednesday, Guterres emphasized that time is of the essence to address the worsening situation in the country. He cautioned that further delays in supplying additional officers to the multinational force tackling gang violence or providing further assistance could lead to the catastrophic collapse of national security institutions. The escalating crisis in Haiti, already the Western Hemisphere's poorest country, continues to threaten the country's stability.
Moments, you cannot find a solution in Haiti used with external forces.
Them not know that.
The Haitian people have to be a part of the solution. You have to consult more. You have to work with the Haitian people. You cannot just, because you wouldn't win trying to go and just
Them not know that.
dislodge. You have to have dialogue. You have to come to some compromise, and you have to be able to establish a framework that the people can trust. The people do not trust the external forces. They do not trust America. They do not trust the Kenyans because they think it's the Americans send them there. So you sending more people there is not going to solve the problem. And even the commitment for change. Because a guy in Kenya who probably go to Haiti because he get paid, and he said he's not going there to risk his life and risk his everything to save nobody in Haiti. I could guarantee you that. And they will be there like the UN for the next 300 years and nothing will change.
They don't want to hear though. We know what we know, but they're not interested in knowing. One more comment and then we move on.
Yeah, you know, this is why I miss people like Barbara Walters and those legendary media people, because someone like her would, I'm sure, would say, you know what, let's go into Haiti and interview one of these Barbados, for Barbados to withdraw. When I heard that Barbados decided that they're not sending or
We're having some internet connection issues on this end. I apologize. Go ahead, James. Continue. Don't stop.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah. I was thinking to myself, once I heard that, what is it that the Prime Minister or the leaders of the forces in Barbados know that we don't know? Why they decide that we're not going anymore? It must be something that they know that they're probably not going to come out and say. But based on like Barbados, St. Vincent and Guyana have been three of the most forceful and resistant governments so far. So if Barbados, which was part of the program, say, you know what, we're not sending our people over there anymore, something is going on that we don't know.
And Belize is hesitant too. Belize is quite hesitant. I think they are revisiting the decision that they made, and as such, right now they have put it on hold. The sending their troops over there or sending any representation whatsoever to Haiti. All right, thank you so much. It's time for us to keep it moving.
Yes. But Moments, the only reason that is happening for people like Mia Motley, who has been champion of integration in the region and champion of us deciding our own future and stuff. If these Caribbean countries are saying, listen, I am not sending my citizens in Haiti to die, and they had agreed initially, is because somebody's not upholding the agreement. But they can't come out and say that. But they say, okay, well, I can't change you, and I can't force you to uphold the agreement, but I can prevent my citizens from dying. So I'm not sending any soldiers in Haiti.
Mhm.
And that is what's going on. They realize that whatever they signed up for is not happening, because I can guarantee you, if the Honorable Mayor Motley signed a deal with you to assist in recovery of Haiti, to assist in the stabilization of Haiti, as long as you're sticking to what she agreed to, she would not withdraw her troops. So the fact that she withdrawing her troops means something is not kosher. And then Belize is doing it too. And I don't think there is any other Caribbean island that is rushing to send nobody there.
Mhm.
So why?
All right, we got to keep it moving. We got a few more stories, quite a few more stories to get through. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate your input and your perspective on what's going on. Going to take a quick break. And when we get back, we have stories on the international scene. Keep it locked. Where are you? Coffee and Toe is brought to you in part by Lormel Skin Food. Log on to lormelskinfood.com. Discover the range of natural skincare solutions. Indulge in the radiance of natural and organic beauty with the best natural and organic soap bars, whipped soaps, body butters, and oils. All 100% natural products. Lormel Skin Food for a natural, beautiful you. The world's best coffee from our farms to your cup. It's Grand Coffee House. And we are back with YouTube, our first story on the international scene. Thank you for sending this one over, Mr. President. Saudi Crown Prince says kingdom intends to invest $600 billion in the U.S. during a call with President Trump. This one can be found on yahoofinance.com. According to the Associated Press, Saudi Arabia's crown prince said the kingdom wants to invest $600 billion in the United States over the next 4 years. Comments that came after President Donald Trump put a price tag. A price tag, yes, a price tag on returning to the kingdom as his first foreign trip. Trump's 2017 trip to Saudi Arabia upended a tradition of U.S. presidents first heading to the United States as their first trip abroad. It also underscored his administration's close ties to the rulers of the oil-rich Gulf states, as his eponymous real estate company has pursued deals across the region as well. I'm a little confused here. Conflict of interest? I don't know, but let's keep it moving. The comments from Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, reported early Thursday by the state-run Saudi press agency, came in a phone call with Trump. It was Trump's first call with a foreign leader since his inauguration on Monday. The Crown Prince affirmed the kingdom's intention to broaden its investments and trade with the United States over the next 4 years in the amount of $600 billion and potentially beyond that. The readout did not elaborate on where those investments and trade could be placed. The U.S. in recent years has increasingly pulled away from relying on Saudi oil exports, which once was the bedrock of their relationship for decades. Saudi's sovereign wealth funds have taken large stakes in American businesses while also looking at sports as well. Saudi Arabia does, however, rely predominantly on US-made weapons and defense systems, which could be part of the investment. So he's not going to go to His Majesty in the United Kingdom first. No visit to King Charles.
Moments, didn't the same Saudi Arabia invest $2 billion in the president's son-in-law company?
That's why conflict of interest.
Was 3 billion.
Conflict of interest. Oh,
Yeah, because I said if Saudi Arabia did not invest that money, the company will go under, right? And they invested at 2 billion. It could be 3. I was speaking subject correct. I know it's at least 2 billion into Jared Kushner's company. And now you're going back there with a price tag. Well, it's all business.
It's all business.
Because they
nothing
also
personal.
I think developed a Trump Tower during his tenure or something like that in Saudi Arabia. But that's the way it goes.
Yeah, yeah, but
Sorry, I can't do anything but laugh. Zero comments. Go right ahead, James.
yeah, this reminds me of one of the things Marcus Garvey used to push back in the days. Marcus Garvey said a thing that look like when he was addressing like in particular African Americans, he was saying that stay focused, don't look on color, don't look on black and white. The most important color is the color of the money. So you need to get your money up. No, Marcus Garvey was teaching that when he was establishing, because remember, like he raised over $300,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
For the Black Star Liner.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when he was preaching, when he was going across America, talking to African Americans, he said the most important color is the color of your money. We're talking about financial empowerment. We're not even talking about revenge or white supremacy or hate or this or that.
Mm-hmm.
Get your money up. So it shows you the most important thing is people see the color of the money. So like, that's the only thing that's important to them right now, the money. Because these are so-called countries, the same country that they were called terrorist country, the same set of people, but this set have enough money that they can, massage their back with billions of dollars. So they're good with that,
What can I say? I have zero comment. Mhm. Next up on the international scene, over 1,000 tons of missile fuel chemicals head for Iran from China. Thank you for sending this one over, Mr. President. And let me pin the link on YouTube. All right, so this article can be found on jpost.com. Let's get into it. Two Iranian cargo ships may be seeking to move key chemicals for missile propellants from China, according to the Financial Times in a report on Wednesday. The vessels could depart from China in the next few weeks. The report is based on intelligence from security officials in two Western countries. This information appears to serve as a clear warning to Iran and China about these vessels. According to the report, the Iranian flagged ships and the Jairan are expected to carry more than 1,000 tons of sodium perchlorate or perchlorate. Yes, perchlorate, that's the correct pronunciation, which is used to make ammonium perchlorate, the main ingredient for solid propellant for missiles. Okay. Iran has suffered some setbacks in manufacturing missile propellants in the last year. Axios made the report in October that Israel had struck 12 planetary mixers, which Reuters said were used to produce solid fuel for long-range ballistic missiles. Further, the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace said early satellite imagery revealed that Israel had destroyed solid propellant missile production facilities in three areas. I would love a world where we have no weapons, no war. Go ahead, Mr. President.
First of all, before we even say anything about it, is this the same Western exports that knew WMD was in Iraq? Because we have to get it right.
Do we? Do we really have to get it right?
I am sure I saw Colin Powell on the TV showing us satellite images of trucks and whatever it is that was moving WMD,
You're seeing
how much years after we get rid of Saddam, we destabilize Iraq to the point where Iraq find new oil now recently that we want to fight for. And I haven't seen a single, I didn't even see the MD, much as the W. So when you have these Western exports are so sure with their intelligence and sending all this warning, I just say we have to take it with a grain of salt.
Grain of salt? Is it going to be Himalayan?
I think it's kosher because they usually link with a certain state. The intelligence is always linked with that state.
moving. Next up, thank you for this one as well, Mr. President. Mali's military junta, or say junta? What do you say, junta or junta? What's the correct pronunciation? You know, and I keep
Junta.
junta. All right, thank you, Adesoji. You sound like you're out and about. Mind yourself now. I hope you're behaving yourself over there in cold London town. It is the bottom of the hour. Mali's military aims to create a national defense industry. This one can be found on agencianova.com. Mali intends to have its own defense industry by 2025. Look at that. Building factories for the assembly of weapons and vehicles and the manufacture of ammunition and explosives. The announcement was made by General Assimi Goita. Transitional president and head of the military junta came to power in a 2021 coup during the celebrations for the 64th anniversary of the Malian Armed Forces. The process of equipping the armed and security forces will be improved in 2025 with the establishment of a defense industry. He made that statement in his address to the nation, specifying that Bamako is working actively on the installation of factories with units for the assembly of individual and collective tactical weapons and vehicles, as well as for the manufacture of ammunition and explosives, including for civilian use. The aim of the investment is to make the country military independent, he stressed, adding that today's Mali is no longer the favorite terrain of nostalgics of a paternalistic past. The country, according to the leader of the transition, is a free and sovereign actor, and as such chooses its destiny with full knowledge of the facts. An implicit reference to France, whose troops left the country more than 2 years ago, but also a warning to all Western governments that intend to try to manipulate or put pressure on Bamako. Mali, whose army has been demoralized, humiliated, and weakened, now presents itself as an important actor in the sub-region. Malian Armed Forces has been revised to ensure a better response capacity and greater efficiency on the ground. Our military infrastructure is currently undergoing complete modernization and will soon begin Mali will soon begin producing ammunition in a phase that also includes the assembly of armored vehicles. Wow. All right, Mali. By the way, lest I forget, very important, Mali's main arms suppliers are currently China, Russia, and Turkey. And I'll stop right there. Thank you, Mr. President. Mali on the up and up.
Well, the Sahel states is putting a lot of emphasis on defense because from what they're saying out loud and in secret is that the region has been destabilized by France, who has been there pretending to be fighting the same thing that they were perpetuating. So, and I think I saw another article where I think they are creating a special unit in the Sahel that will be a Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. I think the unit will consist of 5,000 soldiers from the different countries, and that unit would be focusing specifically on anti-terrorism or like fighting the rebels in the Sahel state to try to create more stability. And they're looking to heavily equip them properly and stuff like that. If I could remember correctly, they're literally looking to combine. They said it, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, they formed the military alliance, and now they're looking to take it to another step to provide some more stability in that region.
So thank you for that, Mr. President. And just to remind everyone, the Sahel states include Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. However, in the Sahel region, there are more countries than those three. You have, hold on, let me double check and make sure. I don't want to speak out of turn here. Hold on.
Chad.
You have
Chad.
Yes, Chad, Cameroon, the Gambia, Guinea, Nigeria, Senegal. Yeah. Am I missing one? Okay, go ahead, Mr. President. Sorry.
Yeah, I think also with Chad pushing out the French, it is alleged, I'm not sure how, that they're contemplating joining the Sahel states, joining those three countries. So if they join the alliance, then that would be another shift, because remember they already have close ties with Ghana now with the new president, and Senegal, has not isolated them. So that will further weaken ECOWAS. So let us see how that will go.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
see. Go ahead, James. Sorry.
yeah,
Thank you.
that's what I heard earlier this week, that apparently like they are thinking of joining also. But what is going to be interesting is time. Time is going to be key to everything. If they have the time, say within the next 5 to 10 years, and we see how, in terms of infrastructural development, in terms of overall development from that alliance, and that might attract more to join. And if they're not, time also with not being destabilized by outside force like any terrorist attack or anything like that, that is going to be like a case study of what Africa could have been if it wasn't for the taking down of Gaddafi, because that was pretty much a plan, right?
Right.
So it's going to be very interesting in the next 5 years, I would say, 5 to 10 years, what's going to happen with that region.
But James is not just the taking down of Gaddafi. If I should come in here, you can't leave out Patrice Lumumba. You can't leave out men like Sankara and them days. Remember, if these guys was allowed to progress, where you think we would have been right now? Remember Abraham Traore, as much as we are hyping him, he is literally implementing Thomas Sankara plan. That is why he's seen as a second Sankara, And look at the progress he has made in the short time he has done. I could guarantee you, if these three countries is allowed to exist peacefully, you would not want to see what they are in 5 to 10 years. And Africa would have no choice but to take note and to move in that direction.
All right. Thank you once again. Moving right along, we do have. And real quick, I know you mentioned ECOWAS, and to our listeners listening online on QMZRadio.com, JohnRadio.com, and MadMusicHouse.com, as well as to our viewers on our YouTube live channel. There are 15 members of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, and they are Benin, Burkina Faso, Cabo Verde, Cote d'Ivoire, the Gambia, Ghana, Guinea-Bissau, Liberia, Mali, Niger, Nigeria, Senegal, Sierra Leone, and Togo. All right. So you will, if you have been a part of Coffee Until you, and in our international news segment, you hear us talk about the Sahel states, and you also hear us talk about ECOWAS. All right. Moving right along. Thank you for this next one to Mr. President. Interest payments on debt in sub-Saharan Africa are skyrocketing. And this article can be found on Semaphore. Okay, semaphore.com. Just get rid of this thing here that just popped up on my screen. I don't want to talk about that story. Goodbye. All right, this one. Back to it. Interest payments on long-term debt in sub-Saharan Africa rose nearly sevenfold to $26 billion between 2010 and 2023, according to the World Bank. The increase came as the region's foreign borrowing doubled to $864 billion within the period. Mozambique and Senegal grappled with particularly severe debt pressure. The continent's worsening debt crisis has left some countries spending more on debt repayments than vital services such as healthcare or education. Though China is one of the continent's major creditors and is often vilified for its lending practices, Africa has also borrowed heavily from multilateral financiers such as the World Bank and International Monetary Fund. Why are we borrowing so much money? You know what is interesting? And I guess I'm paying attention to the wrong thing, some would say. But what I find rather interesting is that in these developing states, and I'm not talking about just on the continent, but in most developing states, why is it that politicians or the leaders of our countries or those whom we rely on to run our country, why is it that them always seem to be living the high life? Just a question. The countries are riddled with debt, constantly sitting at negotiating tables to renegotiate existing debt, um, putting the countries in more debt with the World Bank, with the IMF. But yet the leaders and all them friends and them cronies, everybody I live the high life. Them have mansions, they have real estate across the globe, they have them private jets, their wives and vacation in Europe. Children go to colleges and universities, go to Ivy League school. I don't know. Is it me?
Sound
No,
like
it's
you're
not
talking
you.
about Ukraine.
Me talk about,
Ukraine in a level for his Sir James.
yeah, can
But
we not? Yeah, yeah,
moments. If you
yes.
look at Mali for instance, right? Assimi Goita had been renegotiating all Mali debts and stuff to the point where I think they paid out a big chunk of the
Uh-huh.
debts.
Uh-huh.
And you see the seizing of the mines, the renegotiating of the contracts, the holding the people accountable for the taxes they haven't been paying since Adam was a lad, and taking those resources now and putting it back into key infrastructure and development areas in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And you have seen a transformation in Mali. When you look at Traore in Burkina Faso, who refused to even take some big exclusive salary, keep his own the same vehicle he had before, and so on. And they are making a lot of headway. So all we need is the people on top to have a different mindset. Mind you, we still cannot be too carried away because in a democratic country, you don't have the unilateral power that the juntas have to make certain decisions. But at the same time, if people are starting to make the right decision,
Mm-hmm.
we will see a change. And I'm hoping that new president that come back in Ghana
Mm-hmm.
could use that as an opportunity to change the direction of Ghana and show us that the elected people can do it. Also, I hope Faye in Senegal could also start to implement a lot of the stuff. Faye had changed a lot of his parliamentarians and stuff and change up a lot of things. Let's hope we would see a new breed of leaders in Africa
Mm-hmm.
heading in a different direction because the old one ain't working.
Time for change. Time for change. Time for change. All right. Thank you. One more. No, we have three more in our international news segment. Next up, solar charging backpacks. I like this one. Interesting one, I must say, Mr. President. Solar charging backpacks are helping children to read after dark. Who would have thought? Huh, brilliant. Whoever came up with this idea, big up yourself. According to CNN.com, when innocent, hold on, let me pin the link, girl, pin the link, pin the link. Pin the link. Did it take? Yes, it did. Okay. So, according to CNN, when innocent James completed his chores after school, he would light a kerosene lamp and lay down to read his books. There was no electricity in James's part of Arusha, a region in northern Tanzania. And so his family was forced to burn expensive oil for him to learn after dark. Today, James is 33. And many parents in rural Tanzania, where all year round the sun sets at around 7 p.m., must still choose between saving money and allowing their children to read at night. But now, James's company, Soma Bags, is providing a solution. Backpacks equipped with solar panels that charge a reading light. What started as a small scale project with some discarded cement bags, a sewing machine, and a solar panel has become a business attracting charities and fashion brands from around the world. Last year, Soma Bags, reading bags in Swahili, sold 36,000 solar backpacks to people across Africa, providing an invaluable energy source for when the sun goes down. James was brought up by his mother and grandmother, both school teachers, to love reading. At university in Mwanza, James was shocked at the number of school children he noticed on the street skipping class to ask for money, largely to spend in local video game cafes. He wanted to help them find the taste for learning that he remembered from his childhood. I was frustrated, James said. I could see that the problem was much, much bigger than I thought. Before his last semester, James dropped out of university and used the last of his tuition money to buy a mobile library card. He began visiting schools, attracting hundreds of children to his reading clubs. But for all his hard work, there was a problem. Children would borrow books from him and then return them unread. James soon realized that while they were eager to read, they could not afford to do so. Fewer than half of households in mainland Tanzania are connected to electricity. This falls to just over a third of rural areas. Consequently, many families rely on kerosene lamps to provide light after dark. These lamps produce dim light and are expensive to fill. They also pollute the air and carry the risk of burns. Parents often opt to send their children to bed, James explained, rather than allowing them to use the lamp to read. James's solution? Flexible solar panels sewn onto the outside of bags to power a reading light. This was inspired by a university professor who carried around a solar charger for his phone sewn into a fabric pouch. It gave me the confidence that what I want is going to work. What I said, necessity is the mother of invention. Congratulations to this gentleman, James. We thank you for sacrificing your last year of university. Last year it was, or was it last semester? Well, you sacrificed so that others could have an opportunity. You're a brilliant young man, and we appreciate that. And we hope that many more will join forces. But what would be good is if people were able to have solar panels at their homes, right? Yeah, yeah, solar panels in
Nice.
their home. Yeah, yeah,
It will
Mr.
be
President.
nice. Yeah, we have to congratulate the young man. And it will be nice if we have like organizations and even governments subsidizing some of those bags in some of this country.
Yes.
And that could provide much needed investments so that he can focus on some homegrown solution, as you say, as providing solar, portable lights and stuff for some of those same rural areas to make their life easier, to cut down on the cost of having to buy the kerosene and all the different stuff like that. So these are the things we should really push because these are solution-oriented products. And these products can make a difference, a huge difference to the kids of poor families. And I applaud it.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it. And we want to see more, definitely. We have to say congratulations again. Another round of applause. All right. Next up in our international news segment, record cocoa prices prompt buyers to delay orders, according to Swiss chocolate maker. We've been having quite a bit of conversations about chocolate, huh? Mr. President, interesting. This one you can find on www.ft-comp.ezp. All right, so record cocoa prices are prompting chocolate buyers to postpone orders and attempt to renegotiate pricing. This is according to chocolate maker Barry Callebaut. Cocoa prices have almost tripled in the past year as extreme weather and disease have hit harvests in Ivory Coast and Ghana, which together produce 2/3 of the world's cocoa. 3 consecutive seasons of Global cocoa deficits had pushed prices to astronomical levels, said Oran von Dort, commodity analyst at Rabobank, adding that there was a risk of another deficit in the upcoming season. So, I know on Valentine's I go. The expectation since the initial price rally took off has been that prices will be passed on to consumers, either directly through higher chocolate prices or indirectly as manufacturers utilize shrinkflation and skimpflation strategies. Switzerland listed Barry Callebaut on Wednesday said it had sold less chocolate in 3 months to November 30, but still managed to increase sales revenues, which analysts attributed to the company passing on higher costs to customers. The group, whose customers include chocolate makers Hershey, Lindt, and Mondelez, sold 565,000 tons of chocolate in 3 months to November 30. I'm sorry, I'm stuck on the number here. Hold on a second. So Hershey, Lindt, and Mondelez sold 565,000 tons of chocolate in 3 months. Yep. Well, that was 2.7% down from the same period in 2023, and that is up until November 30, and which is below the analysts' expectations of 568,000 tons. Sales revenue rose 22.6%, yep, to some $3.8 billion over the same period. The company blamed the decline in volumes, particularly to pricing negotiations and to short-term consumer reaction to higher prices. How many was it last year that Ghana embarked on being the end product manufacturer of chocolate?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but that's the thing with the mainstream news, right? You have to.
So James, is it really a shortage due to drought and disease?
There's no shortage of drought and disease or whatever. Like, and that's why it's important. Like when you get the news, you do your own research and all that, because like they can tell you anything and you just take and run with it. because we've been talking about this before they start crying about losing. Not being able to produce and losing money. So we've been we started talking about this way before, and we spoke about Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire taking back some of their chocolate up to about 50%. So that's the 50% that they're missing. Swiss people are not enjoying their expensive chocolate, but there are more people in Ghana that's drinking chocolate milk and a chocolate spread now. So, and the thing is, like, there's no joke, because the thing is, what came out in that story too from last year with in particular Ghana, some of these farmers, because with farming, when you farm particular products, right, and the lands don't get rest, the lands get weary and it stop producing on the same level. So a lot of farmers now, like the cocoa, the farm, like a lot of them are empty now because they're giving the land time to kind of rebuild, because you're farming for like 25 years and the land's getting no rest. The land just get overworked. So some of that process is taking place where some of the lands are empty because they're giving it time to kind of I don't know the right word to use, but it's a process in farming where if you over farm for too much decades, it affects the farmland. So that is going on too. But I just bought a chocolate for $1, so nobody's crying over expensive Swiss chocolate. I just came from the supermarket and pick up a Cadbury for $1, so I'm good.
I think there is a seismic shift moments in the chocolate industry. Okay, remember China going in and helping Ghana.
Right.
I think the Ivory Coast also set up the processing plant and is requiring part of the deal is that they get to buy 40% of the process. And with Ghana and Ivory Coast realizing that they're the main players in the world, but they have not been the benefactors of it. If you look at the entire distribution, they was getting less than 10%, I think. And imagine what the farmers are getting, are somewhere around 6% or something like that. I'm not sure with the numbers.
Right.
And what they're realizing, listen, if we start to process, at least partly process our chocolate, and sell the same product but at a higher level up the chain, we get at least 35% or something like that. And that's what's happening. Then you have farmers who had to go out of business because they're unable to maintain their farms, etc. So there was little incentives to do it. You have the Ghana Cocoa Board, I think, that we say was on the verge of defaulting on loans because they were taking loans to subsidize the farmers and they can't make back the money. So all that may be strategically to say, listen, okay, let us withhold some of the supply and push the price up so we could get out of the hole we have and just change the entire stuff. Because these people in Switzerland, they're just taking all the money and we here working. So it's like I do all the work and you get all the benefits. So
what can go so?
So I think it's a shift. It's a shift in the entire chocolate industry.
Yeah.
When you have a little country like even Grenada looking to be a chocolate destination, imagine. Because you realize it don't make no sense selling raw cocoa. You don't make no money.
Fact. All right, and we have, thank you so much, gentlemen. We have one more story in our international news segment. Ghana and the Ghana government announces investigation into controversial Adjaya designed cathedral. This is an update. We spoke about it. Was it this week or last week? The how much $1 million cathedral, and I had huge concerns about it because I didn't think it was going to be doing.
Didn't Adesoji speak extensive on that cathedral? Maybe take you straight to heaven. Who knows?
Yeah. We spoke about it, but let's go ahead and check out the update, right? And the update, the article can be found on Dezeen, DEZEEN.com. All right, beautiful rendition, I must say. Absolutely beautiful rendition. But let's get into this one. So, Ghana President John Mahama has announced an investigation into the funding of the unbuilt National Cathedral of Ghana in Accra, designed by architect David Adjaya's studio. Ghana's government is set to investigate the controversial project as around $58 million. We spoke about this, yes, $58 million and that's US dollars, of taxpayers' money has already been spent on the $400 million cathedral, despite construction not yet even starting. And that report was done by the BBC. According to the BBC, former President Nana Akufo-Addo claimed the building, which was commissioned in 2018 while he was in power, would be privately funded. Now, if built, the landmark project, designed by architecture studio Adjaya Associates, will have a concave roof topping a 5,000-seat auditorium. The National Cathedral of Ghana has long been a controversial project, with many questioning whether it was a priority when it was unveiled in 2018. Later, Ghanaian members of parliament accused Akufo-Addo of illegally hiring Adjaya Associates to design the building. MPs from the National Democratic Congress, the opposition party at the time, claimed that the studio was sole sourced for the project and accused Akufo-Addo's new Patriotic Party parliament of unjustly using state money to pay for the design work. So hold on a second. The design work of $58 million? What that $58 million cover?
But did you say a $400 million cathedral?
It is
$400 million?
Yeah, we spoke about it. Was it last week?
US dollars?
Yes. Was it last week? Adesoji, we spoke about it.
Damn.
Last week or the week before. We spoke about it, and I had huge concerns because, as far as I remember, okay, hold on. Let me scroll down and see if they put it in this article. Hold on a second. Hold on. All right, here it is. The project was set to be a landmark building for Accra, containing a series of chapels, a baptistry, a 5,000-seat auditorium, a music school, an art gallery, and Africa's first Bible museum. I remember saying, okay, where are the outreach programs that should be involved in this? Meaning, where is a canteen to feed the hungry? Where are the facilities that the orphans, the widows, and the poor and indigent can go and get help? Now that Jesus, so we're supposed to do.
But they say it's privately funded. If it's privately funded, people are looking for a return on their investments. You can't get no return feeding poor people.
But 58 million of it is not private investment. So if this is supposed to be a private investment, how on God's earth did state money end up in this project? I would say, Ado, one name, Akufo, Ado, you need to pay back the $58 million, give back the state of Ghana its money. Because this is muddying the waters. This is trying to pull a fast one on the people. This is you not wanting to spend your money, but the taxpayers' money. Do we really need a $400 million cathedral? Fidowa. Why good for? How many museums we have across the world already?
We need prayers.
Moment.
Go sit on one side, yeah. You're foolish. Go ahead, James.
Which religion is it connected to, though? The cathedral? Because I don't understand. Because I know.
Let me see. I'm looking.
I know. In Côte d'Ivoire they have one of the biggest what you call Notre Dame, one of those massive church that's like a tourist attraction too. I know they have one of the biggest one. Well, it's the biggest one in Africa and one of the biggest in the world in Côte d'Ivoire. So, but with Africa moving away from colonization and all these type of stuff, who is this connected to? Is it like a Catholic cathedral? Who is it connected to? What denomination?
Me don't know. But
yeah,
me don't know. But I mean, we need to move away from denominations. But hold on a second. I'm looking here. We can reach a more reasonable figure for achieving such a project. I agree. I don't think it needs to cost that amount of money. But next, Adesoji Associates declined to comment on the news. The project must be achieved at a reasonable cost in the current circumstances that Ghana is going through. It makes no sense to achieve a project at a whopping sum of 400 million. So hold on, I'm confused now. Why is the government so concerned about the cost if it's being funded privately? You know, so there's something wrong. But anyway, Adesoji Associates was dropped from a number of projects in 2023, including the Africa Institute in Sharjah and the International Slavery Museum in Liverpool, after 3 former employees accused Adesoji of sexual misconduct. Whoa, Adesoji denies allegations. I'm digging to see what denomination.
Moments. Look at the contrast, right? Of this. Let's go back to Burkina Faso. The president bought 400 tractors, 200 and something tillers, 700 and something motor pumps to give to farmers and stuff. I'm sure it did not come up to $400 million US, right? And look at how much people he would empower. Empower the farmers, you understand, the extension officers, and all this stuff to lift the country. And you're telling me with all the problems Ghana have, you're looking for 400 million to build a church? Seriously?
Because God will be in the church and you'll have to go to the church to find God.
God
don't forget that God is everywhere, omnipresent.
This is madness.
This
is the same thing we were talking about with some of these leaders. He is president of the country. Instead of looking to run the country and help people and stuff, you want 400 to build a church.
Yeah, we need it. What do you? We need it.
Want
to say a quick thank you to everyone who just subscribed to our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining the movement. Go right ahead, James.
Yeah, this is not making any sense because, as I said, Africa, like I've been hearing for the past 15 years from not even Black people in the Jewish community, that Africa is the next frontier, that's where everybody, I remember having this conversation some 15 years ago, and now I'm seeing it in real time. What about a university for the region? Like a lot of Africans coming to the United States, coming to Canada, going to the UK, that money could have been spent somewhere else. They established like a free zone in Ghana. That money could have gone to the free zone also to incentivize people to to build on what they're already building. Like, you know, so I have no idea. This don't make sense.
It don't make sense. And
This is the most ridiculous thing coming out of Africa in a long time. Like that's like a big thing, because you're talking about removing the colonizers' image and their imagery and their names and all of these type of stuff, and you're going to put this. I don't know. This don't make any sense.
How dare you all say it doesn't make sense? I'll pray for all of you.
Pray for them, Adesoji. Pray for them. All right, it is time for stories out of North America. Listen, we are going to the building, go pray for them, Adesoji. The prayers will reach up a little better when it's built. But the money sitting on the vacant land right now. The land is sitting vacant, which makes absolutely no sense to me. But anyway, all right. First story out of North America. Authorities investigate. Hold on, let me pin the link on YouTube. Authorities investigate purported writings from teen accused of opening fire at a Nashville high school, killing a student. We do have a soundbite for this one, courtesy of CNN via WSVN. Let me go ahead and play this for us. Hold on.
One day after a deadly school shooting in Tennessee, police say they found eerie evidence that may shed some light into the crime.
Craig Stevens is live in the Satellite Center with more now. Craig.
Gun violence in a Nashville high school.
Seeing people screaming, running, like we could hear it.
Police say a 17-year-old student armed with a pistol fired several shots in the school's cafeteria.
The individual wounded 2 other students, one of them fatally, before shooting and killing himself.
He was a monster, just killing people.
Candace Huff was in line when the gunfire broke out.
I thought I would go throughout high school, like not seeing a shooting, let alone witness someone dying. And the way the guy looked at us before shooting himself, it was crazy, because I didn't know if we were next, or if, I don't know, I just didn't know. Right now, it's eating me up on the inside, and I can't close my eyes without seeing him laying on the floor.
Authorities identify the shooter as Solomon Henderson, but don't see a direct connection between him and the victims.
He was not a kid that you would think would do something like that. He stayed on task. He did his work. He was quiet. So I was really wondering what was going through his head.
Jocelyn Correa Escalante is identified as the 16-year-old who was killed. Her father says his family is in disbelief. Her aunt says Jocelyn was a kind and calm young girl, someone who loved soccer and made good grades.
I really do feel bad for the victims who lost their lives. They should have never lost their lives in that school.
The community held a memorial for Jocelyn Wednesday evening. Local leaders were there.
We're hurting, and it's okay to acknowledge that hurt, but we are strong, and we're going to continue to work together.
This should not be something that we have to worry about.
And on the investigative front, authorities say they're examining what they call very concerning online writings and social media posts connected to the shooter. Meanwhile, a student who was grazed by a bullet was treated at the hospital. Another student was treated for a facial injury suffered during a fall. At the SAT Center, Craig Stevens, 7 News.
You know what I find rather interesting is that both Democrats and Republicans were able to work together on the TikTok ban, remain adamant about the TikTok ban. Oh, by the way, if you're going to your settings on TikTok, you will find out, you'll see Facebook somewhere there. But anyway, let me not digress. Yeah, because they saw TikTok as a threat to the US. However, both representatives from both parties can't seem to come to any agreement when we talk about gun violence, especially in our schools. When I heard the story, I was like, yeah, that's just another day in the neighborhood. That's where we are. We are now becoming numb, or we are already numb. I saw a video and I haven't been on TikTok much. I don't know if y'all noticed that the segment TikTok Talk, it's pretty much almost non-existent. Because the algorithm has changed on TikTok. You're not seeing the same things you used to see on TikTok, right? But you could do something about TikTok, but nothing about, you can't do anything about gun violence. And I'm not blaming Republicans and I'm not blaming Democrats. I'm blaming them both.
Blaming all of them. I think
Every
you should make
single
it
one of them.
illegal for any public official to show up at these funerals and give any speech. All they do is go and give speech after speech, and when they get in parliament, they vote against all the changes that the people want to see. If you put that on the ballot, there is no question about it. It will pass in most of the states. People are fed up. Imagine this family send a 15 or 16-year-old child to school to get a phone call to hear your child is dead. How are you supposed to process that as a parent? That you out there struggling to make it work, to give your child an education, and the place where the child should be one of the safest places, you get a call from that institution to say your child has been shot having lunch in a school cafeteria. And yet still we don't see guns as a problem.
No, we don't. We don't. When are we going to fix the issue? Will it ever be an issue that will be addressed? Or is it that their return on investment, ROI, stocks, dividends? Okay. Is that what I'm supposed to believe? That we value our return on investment when we talk about weapons and anything related to weapons, ammunition, war, anything. We value that over human lives, the lives of our own children. I find it very hypocritical. I've said this several times. I find it extremely hypocritical that we want to go gung-ho for, banning abortion, access to abortion, unless it's in extreme situations. Doctors can't even make the decision anymore. We want to go gung-ho. We say protect the children, bring them into the world. But then when we bring them into the world, they're not protected. You're not pro-life. Prove to me that you're pro-life, both Democrats and Republicans. Prove to me that you are pro-life. You can't pick and choose for when you're pro-life. Makes no sense. Profit over people. That's what I see. I mean, what else do you want me to think? It's profit over people. In our next story, Trump administration cancels travel for refugees already cleared to resettle in the U.S. We also have a soundbite for this one, the Associated Press via WSVN.
And now at 10, a news alert regarding refugees. President Donald Trump has canceled travel for all refugees already cleared to resettle here in the U.S.
Thousands of refugees are now stranded at various locations around the globe with no answers as to when they would be permitted to travel to the U.S.
Yo no estaba haciendo esto, pero sí esa mentalidad que tú tienes, yo la tenía.
Not sure what happened here. Hold on a second.
This is 7 News at 11.
Good evening. At 11 o'clock, we begin with a developing story, what appears to have been a murder-suicide in Hialeah. Officials say it's
sorry, that's a breaking news thing that just came out of Hialeah. Yeah, they interrupted my thing. But yeah. So what's gonna happen to the refugees now? What's gonna happen? Huh? So among those, let's jump into this. Hold on, was it what is today? Friday. Was it Wednesday we spoke about the Afghans who were working in the embassy or working with the US government that were being...
Yes, we did. They was on their way here.
Yeah,
from
okay.
I can't remember which country.
Philippines.
Philippines, yeah.
Philippines. All right. So let me dig into this article real quick since them interrupt me. The suspension was in an executive order signed by President Donald Trump on Monday. It left open the possibility that people who had undergone the lengthy process to be approved as refugees and permitted to come to the U.S. and had flights booked before that deadline might still be able to get in under the wire. But in an email reviewed on Wednesday by the Associated Press, the U.S. agency overseeing refugee processing and arrival told staff and stakeholders that refugee arrival to the United States have been suspended until further notice. Among those affected are more than 1,600 Afghans cleared to resettle in the U.S. So which part them there? Hold on there. As part of the program that the Biden administration set up after the American withdrawal from Afghanistan in 2021. That number includes those who worked alongside American soldiers during the war, as well as family members of active duty U.S. military personnel. Huh? Trump's order had given the agency until January 27 before it began to halt all processing and traveling. Now, however, it appears the timing in the order was moved up. It was not immediately clear what prompted the change. So hold on, let me back up to that paragraph there. So that number, the 1,600, from the article we read a couple days ago, it said that they had left what? On the 19th or the 18th, they had already left the Philippines. So I'm confused. Did they make it to the US or no? But here, what is concerning now is that included in the number are family members of active duty US military personnel. So isn't that the splitting up of families right there within the very people with within the army, the very military, even I thought you took care of your military. I thought we took care of our military. Let me put it that way. We. Not anymore? No? You would have, wasn't there a time when military personnel and family members were protected? So I'm taking it then that these military personnel, while there, had started families with Afghanistans and Guanchu.
No exceptions. They might be terrorists. You need to know.
Really, Adesoji?
Yeah.
No exception. Zero tolerance.
So imagine you as a military person, James, right? I look, you're coming back to the States and you say, yes, your wife and your little pitney are come. And then tell us, no, the wife and pitney can't come. You want to come. So separation of families is affecting everybody. Go ahead, James. I'm so sorry.
It's the American dream.
Yeah, but again, moments, go back to the date. You say something about 2021, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so this is the thing with politics. The political football that they're playing, that both sides have to get blamed for. Because you see, Joe Biden with his last ditch effort to sign a bunch of stuff, this is one of them, and this is inexcusable, right? Because America and Canada at the same time, they signed this agreement, right? And remember, we had this conversation probably about 2 years ago in this space of Canadians complaining that the government took thousands of people from Afghanistan, relocated them to Canada, and they were giving them a lot of money before the Ukraine war, right?
Yes, we spoke about it.
They came in. So if the Canadian government from that time, from the withdrawal, said, look, these people are in danger. A lot of them were interpreters. A lot of them were working with the Canadian and the American government. And these people are Canadian citizens. They probably buy a house, car, and land already. Why did Joe Biden wait? This is nonsense. Like, Joe Biden needs to be held accountable because they know that Donald Trump is going to thing. So it's just a part of the political football thing that they play with people's life. And he know that Donald Trump is going to thing. So he used this. He don't really care about people, don't really care about these people. He's just using it as a political football for the Democrats to use and say, look, see, Donald Trump didn't allow these people to come in from 2021, and last minute you're doing this. That's garbage. Trust me, that is garbage.
But James, what else did we highlight with the last minute efforts on Joe Biden's part? And we said expressly, he had 4 years to get it done, and he dropped the ball. Didn't I also say, hold on, is there something? I don't understand how the role of the president works, clearly, because there has to be a thing where, or one is led to believe then that it has to be a situation that within 3 years and 11 months of your leadership, there are certain things you just can't do. But within the last month of your leadership, you can say, throw caution to the wind, sign off on everything. What else am I to believe? You had 4 years. It was the same thing we spoke about Cuba. You removed Cuba off of the terrorist list. We said it here. No point getting excited, right? Because boom, here came Monday. Monday came around, and what happened? Put back on the terrorist list.
But are we excusing the ineptitude of a government for Joe Biden? Joe Biden is not the issue.
That is true. But at the same time, if you can sign executive orders for certain things, Adesoji, why weren't those executive orders signed on day one, knowing that you would have a 4-year reprieve in whatever the issue is, or with whatever the issue is, and then at least people can breathe for 4 years?
The standard practice with relocation for Americans with relocation is a lengthy one. It has nothing to do with any government.
Okay.
Hold on. It's a very lengthy one. The reason why they were placed in Philippines as opposed to Dubai was because Dubai never allowed them to, locate them. That was. Then two is the fact that we've seen it being done before. Iraq War, Vietnam. When it was Vietnam, they were placed in Panama. During the Vietnam War, the people that relocated with the Americans were placed in Panama first. It has nothing to do with the government. And the understanding is these people work for the American government. They didn't work for Joe Biden's government or Trump's government. They work for the American government. It has nothing to do with any sitting government.
Okay.
It's understanding that the United States government owes these people a duty of care. And here is somebody who is playing party cake with people's lives. And we're pointing fingers. It's got nothing to do with Joe Biden.
Okay.
It's got nothing whatsoever to do with him. This guy's responsibility. I mean, the idea that somebody worked for you on the battlefield and you can even say, you know what, you sent an email. So which means you knew what you were doing. It's not like, oh, they were captured by an email. You specifically sent an email that captured them. That means you knew what you were doing. I yield.
Wow.
Yeah. Adesoji, I'm sorry, I'm not buying that. The timing is not making any sense. The Canadian government was able to do this. Remember, we had this conversation like over 2 years ago. The Canadian government was able to do this. Joe Biden, there's a time when they have complete power. They can do a lot of stuff. And this withdrawal was like over 2 years ago. If they wanted to make sure that these people, I think what is happening that they never thought that they would have lost. They thought it would have been a 2-term. And then no, after they lost, they tried to fast track everything. Because like if Donald Trump didn't win, or if Donald Trump won, but this took place, this transaction took place like 6 months ago, and they were able to get them in America before Donald Trump took office. It just seemed like one of those last minute things, the same way with the Guantanamo Bay thing, the same thing with taking Cuba off the terrorist list. It just seemed the timing is just not making sense. And yes, Donald Trump have to be held responsible for like having these people like trying to block them from coming into the country. But we've seen this over the years, like whenever political parties, they're changing power, they always have these last minute ditch effort to fulfill certain promises that they made. and they did not fulfill them. The timing is just not adding up to me.
Yeah.
Those people should have been in America. The worst case scenario, cut a deal with Canada, and Canada took like over 2,000. Canada would have been able to take them also. Cut a deal with Canada and get them to Canada. Worst case scenario. But this just don't make any sense to me.
I have to side with you on this one, James. I have to side with you on this one. Something is not adding up. It's not making sense. It's a shame that I'm blaming Uncle Joe. Well, he's the one at the helm, and he's the one signing off on the executive orders. He's the face of the whole institution at the time when he did it. I don't know. Let us see what happens when.
Yeah, both of them. Don't get me wrong. Trump needs to take some blame too, but both of them need to take the blame equally. Both of them, Biden and Trump, both of them.
Shall I say something?
Yeah, man. Go ahead.
Do you know the people who work with the British are still arriving as we speak? They're still arriving as we speak. They were initially based in Australia. They are still arriving as we speak. We've changed the government now from Labour, from Conservative Party to Labour. They're still honoring the agreement. That's an agreement. That has nothing to do with politics.
Okay.
And the time there's nothing wrong with the timing. These are countries that has gone to war with people. The last thing they need is a group of people that they don't quite know to move in their country and become a sleeper cell. We're saying, come on.
Okay.
It's as if we don't know the countries we're dealing with.
Okay.
Good
point. That's a solid point. I agree. It's a solid point to make.
Yeah, but I'm not going to use the UK as an example, because if anybody's worse on immigration than America, is the UK. Remember, the UK are deporting people that were born in the United Kingdom back to Jamaica. So I'm not going to use them as an example. I'm going to use Canada. If Canada, the passive country that people say no man no live in Canada because they're all, questionable, they're not strong, they're not powerful enough. That Canada, the passive Justin Trudeau, if they can get over 2,000 people in the country, give them citizenship over 2 years ago. And remember, the pullout was the same time, because these people that are in Canada, they left the same time with the Americans. They left same time with the people from UK, because it was a program, a joint effort between these countries. And Canada had their interpreters that they were working with, and they withdraw at the exact same time. And you're going to tell me that the weak, passive Canada is the only country that could have gotten their 2,000 people here? That don't make any sense. America is the most powerful country in the world. They can do whatever they want to do. If they can do whatever they want to do, they can send people out of space. They could have gotten those people in America before this time. I'm not buying that. Sorry.
All right, moving on. All right, go ahead. So, we move on.
Quick one. On the issue of the timing, how long have the people in Guantanamo Bay been there? How long?
20-something years without any trial.
They're home in Guantanamo
How
Bay.
How many governments have you had in that time? These are people who they specifically put in a place, not because they couldn't deal with it, but that's how the United States works. Come on.
All right, moving right along. We have another story out of North America. 28 minutes after the top of the hour, a federal judge temporarily blocks Trump's executive order ending birthright citizenship. This one courtesy of the Associated Press via WSVN, and we have a soundbite for this one as well. Let's go ahead and get into it.
The patterns of misconduct. Police departments like Louisville and Minneapolis were ordered by the Department of Justice to have officers learn de-escalation techniques that include resolving issues without force. The departments also agreed to fully investigate all allegations of officer misconduct. President Trump has historically opposed those policies.
Hold on, that's the wrong clip. Hold on, listen to me, Mammy. What you going on with? That's a different clip. the clip that we should be hearing is the one that says a federal judge temporarily blocks. Okay, you know, I think when they had the breaking news, and then they had another one with regard to a fire that killed 2 people in Key West, that threw off everything. Hold on a second, folks. Let me pull this one up. Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, let's get it up here. Hold on 1 second. And skip through this ad here. Okay, here we go.
President Trump signing a new round of executive orders today.
Now, a federal judge has temporarily blocked one of them, ruling it flat out unconstitutional. That team's Jack Royers in the place with the latest on the president's agenda. Jack.
Craig Belkisi signed dozens of executive orders since taking office Monday, but today the Trump White House faced their first legal challenge with a Reagan-appointed judge calling his order to end birthright citizenship blatantly unconstitutional.
This next order relates to the definition of birthright citizenship under the 14th Amendment of the United States.
A court battle is brewing over President Donald Trump's executive order declaring an end to birthright citizenship. But the CEO of the National Constitution Center says the 14th Amendment is clear.
Ever since the amendment was passed in the 19th century, that's been interpreted to mean that if you're born in the United States, you're automatically a citizen, whether or not your parents are here legally.
The 14th Amendment resulted from overturning the 1857 Dred Scott decision, which denied citizenship to Black people and upheld slavery in U.S. territories. The executive order keys in on one phrase in that amendment, subject to the jurisdiction thereof.
They're suggesting that if you're here illegally or your parents are here illegally, they have allegiance to a foreign power, in other words, another government, and therefore that you're not a citizen.
A federal judge temporarily blocking the order, calling it blatantly unconstitutional. But the president is gearing up for a legal fight that could end up at the Supreme Court.
Obviously, we'll appeal it. They put it before a certain judge in Seattle, I guess, right? And there's no surprises with that judge.
The president signing still more executive orders Thursday, 2 of them focused on AI and cryptocurrency, as well as issuing more pardons, this time for people convicted of protesting abortion rights near abortion clinics during the Biden administration. And in a major move, ordering the declassification of files related to the assassinations of John F. Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, and Martin Luther King Jr. It's not clear when those records will be made public.
But if you don't make your product in America, which is your prerogative, then very simply you will have to pay a tariff, differing amounts, but a tariff which will direct hundreds of billions of dollars and even trillions of dollars into our treasury to strengthen our economy and pay down debt.
Trump also spoke virtually to the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland Thursday, outlining his economic trade agenda.
Come make your product in America, and we will give you among the lowest taxes of any nation on earth.
Adding that economic pressure could help end Russia's war in Ukraine, he thinks, later saying he plans to meet with the Russian President Vladimir Putin with the goal of ending the war.
I think Russia should want to make a deal. Maybe they want to make a deal. I think from what I hear, Putin would like to see me, and we'll meet as soon as we can. I'd meet immediately. Every day we don't meet, soldiers are being killed in a battlefield.
Trump, who has promised to deliver American energy dominance, is directly calling on help from foreign oil producers to help lower energy prices. The president argued cheap oil would help end the war in Ukraine, which Russia has financed in part with its vast amount of oil revenue. Live in the Newsplex, Jack Royer, 7 News Night Team.
And we'll just go ahead and get into the other article that we have. Trump's new Justice Department leadership orders a freeze on civil rights cases. Let's just go ahead and just jump over to that one and take a listen. Here we go. Where are you?
President Trump signing a new round of executive orders today.
Now, a federal judge has temporarily blocked one of them, ruling it flat out unconstitutional. That team's Jack Royers.
Okay, come on. What's your name? Miami, what's up with you? What's up, Miami? What's up? What's up? What's up? I don't think y'all should do what you call it. Breaking news. Don't throw off everything.
Of misconduct. Police departments like Louisville and Minneapolis were ordered by the Department of Justice to have officers learn de-escalation techniques that include resolving issues without force. The departments also agreed to fully investigate all allegations of officer misconduct. President Trump has historically opposed those policies. He says they unfairly punish police and restrict them from doing their jobs.
Hold on a second. Let me go back to this. So, President Donald Trump's new Justice Department leadership has put a freeze on civil rights litigation and suggested it may reconsider police reform agreements negotiated by the Biden administration. Attorneys in the department's Civil Rights Division were ordered not to file any new complaints, amicus briefs, or other certain court papers until further notice. Another memo directed attorneys to notify leadership of any settlements or consent decrees, court enforceable agreements to reform policy agencies that were finalized by the Biden administration within the last 90 days. It said the new administration may wish to reconsider such agreements, raising the prospects that it may abandon 2 consent decrees finalized in the final weeks of the Biden administration in Louisville, Kentucky, and Minneapolis, Minnesota. Those agreements, reached after investigations found police engaged in civil rights violations, still need to be approved by a judge. They were among 12 investigations into law enforcement agencies launched by the Civil Rights Division under Attorney General Merrick Garland. The Minneapolis City Council earlier this month approved the agreement to overhaul the city's police training and use of force policies in the wake of the 2020 murder of George Floyd. So help me and tell me if I'm wrong. Am I understanding then that whatever training that was supposed to go in place to ensure that there's a mitigation of how of the outcome of police and civilian interaction.
Yeah.
Hey, okay.
As suspect of way.
So in other words, do on the wando, don't worry about it.
You can kill them if you want. Doesn't really matter.
Is that what I'm to interpret from this article? I just want to make sure I'm not off.
Yeah. No, that's it. That's it.
And Adesoji, let me add, it is unclear how long the litigation freeze may last. The memo said the move was necessary to ensure that the federal government with one in its view of the law and to ensure that the president's appointees or designees have the opportunity to decide whether to initiate new cases. Carry on, Adesoji. Thank you.
Let's begin with Judge John Coffiner yesterday. The first question he asked is, where were the lawyers when this thing was being signed? The guy who led for the government, his name is Brett Schumacher. He said, no, the judge asked him, is this constitutional? He said, absolutely it is. The judge said, it boggles the mind how anyone who went through law school would bring this before me and say this is constitutional. The next question he asked was, where were the lawyers when this was being signed? Where were the lawyers? That this is he said never has a clear question been asked of law in the history of his 40 years on the bench. Literally saying, I could have told you this if you woke me up in my sleep. That this is unconstitutional. You don't need to argue this. So on the issue of the consent decrees, the consent decrees essentially says, based on the fact that the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department has found certain police departments wanting in how they apply law in certain areas, the government deems it necessary that in order for you to practice anything, you have to seek the advice of a judge. And that is what he's now saying they don't need to. I yield.
Anybody else before I move on? Interesting times. Interesting
Yeah,
times.
very interesting times. You know, one of my biggest concern is that because Donald Trump right now seem to be taking advantage that he has ultimate power, right? And
But
from
does he though, James? Does he?
well, if that's how he's operating, I don't know. They have the House, the Congress, they have Supreme Court, they have a lot. So he just seems like he's taking advantage of all the power that they have. My concern is that, like, you know, after any fight or any competition, whether track and field, boxing or whatever, you have to do self-evaluation and see how can I do better. I've not seen anything so far of Democrats saying that we need to. There are things that we lost the election because people thought that they're having issues with this. Let's reevaluate so that the midterm coming up and the next 4 years, we can take back power. And if they don't get with it, and because I'm not seeing a front runner yet, because basically, like with Gavin Newsom, like a lot of people are saying that this guy is like the rising superstar in the Democratic Party, but a lot of people have problems with him, with how he operates. So we're not seeing a clear front runner yet. We don't know if Michelle Obama would consider doing it to save America, but we're not seeing any one stepping out and say like, okay, we can do it. And Donald Trump is bound to fail. The pace that he started already, I guarantee you that if Donald Trump, like with all the tariff argument and all these type of stuff, America, Canada, Mexico, we're going to experience a crash that we have never seen before if he implements even half of these things. My problem is that they feel so powerful that if they do all these stuff that he wants to do and crash, we see like another like recession, North American recession, that the Democrats are not putting themselves in a position to come and take back, you know, take back House, Congress, and eventually take back the government. So they need to get with it and find a clear front runner. And I don't know if Gavin Newsom is a person, because with what's going on with the fire now and all that, so they need to be working on these type of stuff. The less time they spend focus on calling his name over and over again, try and find someone that can step up and take back the House and Congress or whatever. So that's my own concern.
But James, who is calling his name? It's the media who is putting. We don't know what's going on in the back end of the Democratic Party. We really don't know. That's the truth, because we have been inundated with everything President Trump. I mean, every article, and it's not just with U.S. media houses. We're talking on the international landscape as well. It's everything Trump, 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 Trump. So it could be that whatever they're doing is drowned out by by you know, all stories and what he's done, and understandably so. At least I want to say for the next 30 days, right? As the excitement is still there, and you know, and there is a lot of FAFO going on. You know, we're hardly going to hear anything about the Democrats. And also, could it be that the Democrats are opting to move in silence? Because, you know, them said that too. Sometimes, and everything you want put out there, we have blamed the leaders in this country of being a little bit too transparent, right? So who to tell? They're probably moving differently, move in silence. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, but sorry, but if they're gonna have to come back in 2 years, they can't move in silence right now. They have to put someone out there or put things out there to say like, look, this man is going too fast, he's doing too much. Because I get like we're gonna know by April, because this tariff on Canada and Mexico, I guarantee you, because for the first time, people don't really hear about Canada too much, but for the first time, there are leaders they're meeting, and there are certain businessmen that they're meeting with that they're not simps, like they are serious businessmen, and they already have their retaliation. And if Donald Trump go and put this 25% and do what he's doing, because Mexico and Canada don't make any sense. Does not make any sense. For the first time, we see Mexico with like a thriving economy, a lot of stuff being built in Mexico. It don't make sense to mess with Mexico. It don't make sense to mess with Canada, because Canada have the longest unsecure border in the world that they share with America. If Canada is destabilized, Mexico is destabilized, America is screwed. Because like you're cutting off your hand and your foot, how you gonna walk? So yeah, I just need like to be seen like movements that okay, we are ready for the midterm election. We are ready because this man is going at a pace that is bound to fail.
James, with all fairness to you, right? And you may have make a solid point, but let's not get too excited. Donald Trump has not even been in office a month yet. Not even a month.
Oh,
I know it
boy.
seems like a really long time,
Listen, it feel like 8 years already.
but it is not even a month. And this is the one, as much as I condemn the Democrats, you have to allow Trump to sink. You have to allow him to put in his policies. Let people see what's going on. And I guarantee you, he would flip everything in 6 months because his policies cannot work. He will go down as the worst president ever. He don't like bad press. The ratings will get so bad. He will get rid. First of all, remember I gave Vivek and Ilonia 6 months? Well, Vivek didn't even last 6 days.
I don't
So
think
it's
it's more
just
contention.
a matter of time. Because let me tell you, when you combine his deportation strategy with his tariffs, America would not last 6 months. I'm telling you, you implement that tariff now and continue at the rate, disrupting the agriculture industry, all these industries that you're interrupting with the immigrant workers and stuff like that. America would sink so fast that we will wonder what's going on. And everybody would feel it because it is unsustainable.
Yeah.
It cannot work you cannot even do that for 3 months.
Yeah. Well, sometimes we have to sink before we plug the hole, right?
The thing that they don't realize is before, even if America go down, they could come back quickly because a lot of people didn't have alternatives. But with the rise of BRICS and the global south, when people go to BRICS or when the global south start trading and doing more business together and stuff like that, America, as significant as it is, would become less significant.
Mm-hmm.
And people would learn it might be tough to survive without solely depending on America in a lot of areas. And America would not recover the market share that they will be losing. They will recover, but not as much as they will lose.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's see how it's going to play out. Sometimes, as you gentlemen were speaking, I was wondering, could this be a Trump strategy? Because, and hear me out for a second. Everybody clamoring to get the favor of President Trump, right? Everybody wanting to be at his right side, at his left side, to be up front and center. People pumping money. Could this be his strategy to say, okay, I'm gonna let this thing crash and burn, and then I will be able to come in as a savior and say, okay, I'm getting rid of this person, getting rid of that person, getting rid of Tom, Dick, and Harry, and I'm gonna save it all. Could this be as a strategy he's using? He's allowing it to crash and burn because everybody just too enough and him don't know how to ease them off. So the best way to ease them off is to create a chaos and then be able to get rid of them and start afresh. Could this be a possible strategy he's using?
No, I don't think so. I think we give Trump too much credit. No, seriously, I think if you know Donald Trump, because I've been watching this guy from Celebrity Apprentice and even before that, and the one thing you know about Donald Trump more than anything else, he loves when you call his name. He is like one of them Instagram model. He likes attention.
Oh my God.
And no, seriously. And I think everything that he's doing, I don't think he even have America interests or whatever. I don't think he even really care about what's happening. Anything to get the clicks and people talking about him, that's what he's doing. And that's why I'm saying, if the media is playing a part in this, if the media gets up and just stop talking about mentioning Donald Trump's name, Donald Trump probably stay in bed and go crazy. If him turn on CNN and don't say, oh, breaking news, Donald Trump do this. turn on Fox. Oh, breaking news, Donald Trump. If you want to keep him quiet or drive him crazy, stop talking about him.
Oh, jeez. All right, James.
Adesoji, I think, was wanted to
Oh,
speak.
all right, Adesoji. All right, I have to end at 1:30, 1:35. Sorry, ending at 1:35, the YouTube live, but I do have to end the internet radio live stream at 1 p.m. Go ahead, Adesoji.
Yeah, I was gonna say the okay, quick one. It's just that there's nothing. I don't even know how to say it because the guy is just weird. Signing 100 executive orders. I mean, this one, the civil rights one, is essentially trying to disenfranchise Black people. That is it. Go and read American Reconstruction. That 1965 Civil Rights Act tried to redress so many things. And this guy literally takes a pen and is about to tear it to shreds. And we're still thinking we're playing politics. This guy has told you he's an existential threat to you as a Black person. And we're humanizing him. My God. Okay, I yield.
What can I say? What can I say? There was a video of a young man very upset. Very upset and questioning, how people voted and pretty much saying you really don't care about me and my existence and my being able to take care of my family, what have you. All right, it is time for business and tech news. And we have that coming up after this little break here, a 5-second, 10-second break. All right, and our business and tech news is brought to you by Grant Coffee. The world's best coffee from our farms to your cup. It's Grant Coffee House. All right, so business and tech news. First up, Walmart will pay more than $600,000 a year to some top managers. Article courtesy of CNN. Some top Walmart managers will now make as much as $620,000 annually as part of a broader pay raise from America's biggest retail chain. The people receiving these pay raises are market managers who oversee around a dozen stores. Their total pay, including bonuses and stock awards, will increase from $320,000 to $420,000 on the low end, and from $570,000 to $620,000 on the high end. To a Walmart spokesperson, the Wall Street Journal first reported the changes. Starting base pay for the market manager position is increasing nearly 25% to $160,000, with increases to the stock grants and bonuses making up the rest. The Walmart spokesperson told CNN in a statement that the market manager is key for our business and for serving our customers however they shop. You know what? I'm really trying to hold it together. Let me keep reading. So, Walmart is America's biggest employer, has an outsized impact on the labor market for hourly workers. And like many retailers, the company has been grappling with finding and retaining the workers it needs in a tight labor market. The company said it has raised hourly wages by around 30% over the last few years, and that its average U.S. hourly wage is now close to $18. Starting hourly pay ranges from $14 to $19, depending on the store and local market. Okay, where's my calculator? Hold on there. Give me a second there, because 40 times what's the low end? $14. That's $560 a week gross. Let us multiply that by 52. That's $29,120. Did we read a report here? I forgot the article where it was sourced from, but didn't we read an article here last year, if not last year, certainly the year before, that the majority of employees at Walmart who are paid hourly also have to receive government benefits? Am I right or am I wrong?
Yes, we did.
But here we are going to pay managers 320 to 420,000 on the low end and 576.20 on the high end. So here what I want to do. Make the manager them go to the work then.
No, you just want better slave drivers. Because from all reports that comes out of Walmart is that they're a horrible employer. You understand? And people don't like it. Another thing again too, you have to realize they hire a lot of part-time staffing so that they don't have to pay their full-time staffing or give them too much hours, etc. Just look at the reports on Walmart. They do not have a good report with employees.
Yeah, I think this is more of a publicity stunt to repair their image, because their image got pretty much
repair image. Whose image? Walmart image?
Walmart, yeah, they're trying to repair, because remember that a few years ago with the imagery of the food basket, where they sell, like, a lot of staff had to go to their own food bank. Like, the Walmart put up I think they had a sign, I don't remember which state it was, of food bank for staff, and for staff and that damaged their image. But they're trying to repair their image, because I've seen the trend it's going into 2 years now since they're doing this. And this only impact managers and supervisors. The managers and supervisors are paid better than like their competitors right now. If you're a manager or supervisor at Walmart, you're getting livable wages. And they're putting it out there every chance they get to say we're paying these people this money. But it's still not addressing, like, the base pay, like the staff that are still making $14 an hour. The practice of them employing people for only 15 to 20 hours so that they don't have to give them full 40 hours a week. And those are the majority. The supervisors and the managers are not the majority of the people. Those weren't the ones that was benefiting from the Walmart food bank. So it's a publicity stunt. They're just trying to repair image.
Also in 2024, Walmart started a bonus program for its hourly employees who have been loyal to the company. Employees can earn a bonus based on years of service, up to a maximum of $1,000 for those with the company 20 years or more. So how is this trying to repair the damage that's already done? Me have to work 20 years with Walmart for able to get $1,000 bonus. All right, where's my calculator? 1,000 divided by 20. That's $50 a year.
I mean, why they putting in so much effort? Donald Trump has already signed as executive order to remove the Civil Rights Act, so you can be paying them save wages sooner or later. I yield.
The federal minimum rate is slave wage, $7.25,
and they don't want to increase it.
Exactly.
Oh boy. Next up in our business and tech segment, Oxfam says billionaires' wealth soared in 2024 with 4 minted every week. I'm pin that one up on YouTube because, oh boy, $1,000. Me have to work 20 years. Then can you imagine being a woman? Oh my gosh, 20 years and I'm gonna get $1,000. I can't wait. All right, folks, let's go ahead and wrap up on air. And if you're listening on air, we invite you to log on to www.coffeeinto.com to continue to watch the show or listen on YouTube live. But this is where we come to the end of our on-air stream on QMZ Radio, Jano Radio, and madmusichouse.com. Wishing you all a wonderful weekend. Please be good to yourselves and do not forget to subscribe to the Coffee in Toe YouTube channel and share the link as well. All right, we're going to just take a quick break while we wrap up here with our on-air stream. We'll be right. Coffee in Tow is an interactive world news podcast, a dynamic and engaging live show that streams across multiple internet radio stations worldwide. This podcast brings you real-time news updates, in-depth analysis, and interactive discussions on global events, making you a part of the conversation no matter where you are. With a diverse range of expert guests and listener participation, it's your go-to source for staying informed and connected to the world. Coffee in Tow is brought to you in part by Lormel Skin Food. Log on to lormelskinfood.com. Discover the range of natural skincare solutions. Indulge in the radiance of natural and organic beauty with the best natural and organic soap bars, whipped soaps, body butters, and oils. All 100% natural products. Lormel Skin Food for a natural, beautiful you. The world's best coffee from our farms to your cup. It's Grand Coffee House. All right. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you for your patience. We're back with you. Now it's time for our next story in our business and tech segment. Oxfam says billionaires' wealth soared in 2024 with 4 minted every week. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think you are the one who sent this over to me, Mr. President. You can, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I may be wrong with this one. All right, according to AlJazeera.com, billionaires' wealth globally grew 3 times faster in 2024 than the year before. That's according to global advocacy group Oxfam International, as some of the world's political and financial elite prepare to attend an annual gathering in Davos, Switzerland. In its latest assessment of global inequality, timed to the opening of the World Economic Forum meeting, Oxfam on Monday said the combined wealth of billionaires rose by $2 trillion to $15 trillion last year. Lord have mercy. The report, titled Takers Not Makers, said there were 2,769 billionaires out of 8 billion people in the world. Yes, and that was in 2024, an increase of 204 over the previous year. It noted that at least 4 new billionaires were minted every week during the year, and 3/5 of billionaire wealth came from inheritance, monopoly power, or crony connections. Oxfam predicted that at least 5 trillionaires will crop up over the next decade. A year ago, the group forecast that only 1 trillionaire would appear in that period. This is grotesque. The capture of our global economy by a privileged few has reached heights once considered unimaginable. The failure to stop billionaires is now spawning soon-to-be trillionaires. Not only has the rate of billionaire wealth accumulation accelerated by 3 times, but so too has their power. That's according to Oxfam International Executive Director in a statement. The group warned that the United States' President Donald Trump's policies are set to fan the flames of inequality further. On average, the wealth of a single billionaire increased by $2 million a day, Oxfam said. The richest 10 billionaires became richer by an average of $100 million per day, even if they were to lose 99% of their wealth overnight. They would still remain billionaires. Go ahead.
What I find really disturbing with this thing is that these same billionaires do not want to pay the people helping them to make the billions a livable wage. when you have like the Amazons and stuff that fighting you from getting into a union, and the Walmarts and those that has horrible, why can't you pay people a reasonable salary so that they can live and take care of their families and still enjoy your billion? You would still make billions.
Yeah.
But do you need an extra 17 billion or extra 20 billion? Do you really need to be a trillionaire when you have people working for you like slaves? Can't you at least make people happy and you be happy in the process? Everybody's happy.
They don't care.
Nobody's fighting with you for making your money. But why you have to think you need to make so much more on the backs of people when you can lose 99% of your wealth and still be a billionaire? I mean, seriously. Tell me how that make any sense.
Because somehow poverty makes them richer.
Thank you very much. That is the point. The point is cruelty. The point is not egalitarianism. It is cruelty. It is the fact that I can own you, even you, not just money. I can own you. That's how slavery, what's it called? That's how the money from slavery translated into capitalism. This guy's book, Slavery and Capitalism, Eric Williams, talks about it. And you can see the same kind of thing coming back again. The same thing, paying people pittance. What happened then? They didn't even pay people at all. Now they're making laws that will make it virtually impossible for you to even challenge their power. You can't even challenge their power. That's the thing. And that's a very, very worrying trend. Because they've sold us dodgy goods. Oh, you two can have the American dream. Oh, you mean the nightmare? Because how can you have the dream and you not to be plugged into exploiting somebody else? It's a circle of exploitation. I yield.
What stood out for me in this article is that they can lose 99% of their wealth, which means that 99% can be spread across their employees, right? They can lose 99% of that wealth to their employees and have their employees live a good life, be able to take care of themselves, save for their retirement, and they would still be billionaires. Go ahead, James.
Yeah, the thing is no, like, how do we fight back? Does it have to get to a point where it's going to cause a revolution for us to fight back? Because we don't need to get to that point. When you look at, like us as consumers, can we start fighting with our wallets and our purse?
That's up to us. But some people, we don't know how to turn off the consumer button. We don't know how to turn it off.
Because when you look at one of the latest thing that is disturbing and disgusting and thing that happened in Canada over the week is that Amazon was willing to close down the entire operation in one province just because they were on the verge of getting union. The entire Quebec, they closed down the entire operation. Remember, Amazon warehouse, they spent millions of dollars acquiring these lands and building warehouse in Quebec, Montreal. And they shut down every single thing with the strike of a pen because they don't want it to be unionized. And I'm like, isn't it time that, like, for the entire country, like say that happened in Canada, can't people just say, like, look, we're going to protest. If you're going to close down one province, close down everything, move out of Canada. And then that is a start. And people, it can become a ripple effect that if you don't want to pay people livable wages and you want to close down in one province, then shut down everything in the entire country. Mm-hmm. Close down in the country, then it ripple to America, Mexico, wherever, shut it down. But we're not willing to fight back. We're still going to go and buy our things, and we don't care about the hundreds of people in Quebec that don't have a job today because these greedy people didn't want to pay like $1 extra per hour or stuff like that. I don't know. It's
But
disgusting.
James, haven't I echoed similar sentiments that deep down inside we are selfish people as human beings? We only care about our personal interests. When we know that as a unit, as a group, we can shift the tide, but we don't want to do it because we don't want to give up our conveniences. And let us be honest, if me have 6 tin of beans in my cupboard, me really need to go back to the supermarket this weekend and pick up 6 more. Me not say, you know what, we're going to teach them a lesson. No, we're not doing it.
When we were growing up, we read a book, Animal Farm.
Oh, we love that book, right? Love
Did
it.
you remember what happened to Boxer?
I will work harder. Comrade Napoleon is always right.
Thank you very much.
And he worked himself to death.
Dead.
Sorry?
And they sold him.
Dead.
Okay.
As loyal as he was, they sold him.
When Boxer, they sold Boxer because he was no longer useful to them, right? Which is what capitalism does. When you're no longer useful, you're getting rid of, right? But then what happened to the farm? There was a revolution, right? We are on the cusp of it. People don't quite see it. I mean, yes, you can abrogate power to the point where you feel free. You can do any sort of things in front of people, and they will make excuses for you until you step on their own toes. And then that's when you realize that, yes, you've gotten to the limit of your power. Donald Trump is about to find out that there's a limit to one's power. In fact, all of these strong men around the world.
That's what I was about to say. Not only him, but every billionaire is going to find out.
China has a policy. The policy is this. Its pressure valve is this. The moment it knows that its growth percentage is less than the estimated 9% every year that it needs to grow, guess what it does? It sends people out. Oh, what do you want to go and do? Moments you want to go and school in America? Here's scholarship. Go and do it. Why? Because that is like taking the pressure off the valve. In the United States, you want to place tariffs on goods, on people who are already suffering. Oh my God.
So, so anybody listening, if you want to know, if you've been following Coffee and Toe for a while, you hear us make a lot of reference to the book Animal Farm, and I think it was written by George Orwell. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, okay. So I know I had to do it when I was in high school. It was a part of our reading list. We had to cover it in literature class. For those of you who don't know, it's a small book. You can get it online. I think it's available online. You should be able to get it. Check with your local library or what have you. If you haven't read it in a long time, if you have read it before, but you haven't read it, go back and reread it. The essence of Animal Farm is that it talks about class, equality, inequality, power and control, which sucked up these animals, power and control, right? Yes. And because of the power and control, what was the end result of that? Inequality, right? Yeah. So there is a rebellion and amongst the animals because they're realizing, whoa, hold on a second. Hold on a second. What's going on here? We're all on the same farm, right? We're all owned by somebody, right? But we're trying to rise up and be like the people who own us because we had a problem with how they treated us, right? But now the group of us that orchestrate the movement, we start taking on the likeness of the same people that we had a problem with, right? So now what the group do? Them betray the very people, right? And they start to become a dictatorship. 4 legs, what? And 2 legs, what? Yes.
All legs bad, 2 legs good.
Yes. So what is that there? The separation within the animal class. Sounds familiar?
And sleep on bed sheets.
You have to separate people. And how do you separate people? By pitting them against each other.
Don't forget 4 legs good, 2 legs bad.
Mm-hmm.
Went from that and transition into 4 legs good, 2 legs better. The squealer, you remember?
So here's the thing. Napoleon is a pig. How befitting. Read between the lines. And because of Napoleon and his aristocracy mindset, are the right word now use, or his dictatorship mindset, you know what happened? Everything fell to pieces. The farm dismantled. It ended up in a worse Wasara condition than it was before. All because of greed. And you know how that greed came about? Because they got a power. And because they got a taste of power, they like that. Oh, I love this. And the power drove them to want control. And as they gained the control, they created unsavory situations. And that's where we are.
You know what? You know what's interesting to why all of this stuff just don't make any sense, because when you listen to a lot of, like, politicians, Western politicians and stuff like that, and they talk about the Industrial Revolution, they talk about the contributing factor, what made America the so-called great country in the history of this earth. When they talk about World War I, World War II, they talk about women entering the workforce. That is one of them. They talk about the building the middle class, the strongest middle class in the history of the world. That's what they said, building the middle class. They talk about small businesses and the importance of small businesses to any thriving economy in the world. And they talk about, civil rights. All of those things that you put in what most politicians would say made America the greatest country in the world, made Europe being developed and all of that. All of those things are being stripped away one by one by one. Like little by little, they're stripping away everything that they claim made this the greatest, like the Industrial Revolution and the greatest generation and the people that build the world that we live in now. Everything is being stripped away. It just don't make any sense. You strip away the working class, you strip away the middle class, it's everything is going to just come tumbling down. Everything.
Well, something, it has to happen, James, for them to, because here's the thing. All right, if people get up and say, well, we're not working today, and them say, don't worry, we have robots. And the robots continue with the manufacturing and the distribution, then the robot them are gonna buy the something them, and the robot them are gonna eat the food, and the robot them are gonna buy the clothes, the shoes, and the robots, sister, them have it messed up. Come on, folks, let us get back to being human. Let us get back to being human. Let us get back to caring about a fellow human being. We have a saying in Jamaica, craven, choke. Let me tell you something. If it were for money, or if money could save lives, plenty rich people wouldn't dead. Nobody rich wouldn't dead. They would still be alive to this day. When you die, you can't take it with you. I have never seen money or assets, nothing in our urn, nor in our casket, or down in our grave, in our mausoleum. No way, you can't take it with you. You got dead lefty. It is going to be here when you're dead and gone. If a tree where we plant there after we're dead and gone, much less.
You heard about the story where the person said they want their money with them, and this man said he wanted money with him when him dead.
They don't care how long make it say use it.
And his wife said, no problem, we'll grant your wish. And she write him a check and put him in coffin.
I heard that one. I did hear that one. So sad. That's all I can say. So sad. This it is time for our health and science segment. No, not at all, not at all, not at all. Hold on there, hold on there. Time for a health and science segment brought to you by Lormel Skin Food. Um, let me pin the first story here. Hold on, bear with me there. I'm here laughing too much at the ridiculousness of the situation. Stuck on the fact that the billionaires in the world are trying to turn into trillionaires, and even if they were to lose 99% of their value, so to speak, they'd still be billionaires, and they don't have a problem with it. The problem is us for seeing them as having a problem. Yeah, we have the problem. All right, here we go. Time for health and science. Lormel Skin Food. Log on to lormelskinfood.com. Discover the range of natural skincare solutions. Indulge in the radiance of natural and organic beauty with the best natural and organic soap bars, whipped soaps, body butters, and oils. All 100% natural products. Lormel Skin Food for a natural, beautiful you. All right, we're back with you, YouTube Live. Our first story out of our health and science segment, perfectionism can harm your health. Here are 5 tips to loosen its grip on your psyche. What I'm saying is that, Ja, you know the same. I can't think of it no. Perfection is the death of, I forget how the saying go. Lord have mercy. I remember.
Do not let the perfection be the enemy of good.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Or
you,
the
Mr.
death,
President. What is it, Soji?
or the death of creativity, because you're
Yes, yes, yes. And I can speak to it. So I was really happy to see this article. Yeah, I am one. I struggle with this, and I feel that if things aren't perfect, that it's no point starting. However, in recent times, in more recent years, I have learned just start. You fix as you go, right? Yeah, I saw it. Make we get into this one. So, according to CNN, the start of the year can be exhausting after running yourself ragged over the holidays, hosting the perfect party, finding the right gifts, or staging the ideal holiday. Popular culture prods you to do even more. And to the New Year's resolution, those self imposed marching orders to improve yourself and often your health. Went to the doctor yesterday. Yeah, I see. I'm not only preaching, I practice what I preach. I did go to the doctor yesterday. Remember, set your appointments for your annuals this year, folks. But sometimes the solution to better health, whether mental, emotional, or physical, may be doing less and learning to let go even just a bit. Dr. Ellen Hendrickson, a clinical psychologist at Boston University's Center for Anxiety and Related Disorders, author and self-described finds doing less doesn't come naturally, and she's hardly alone. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I would say most of my clients come in with perfectionism at the center of the overlapping Venn diagram of their challenges. But nobody ever says, Ellen, I'm a perfectionist. I need everything to be perfect, she said. Instead, what they say is, I feel like I'm failing. I feel like I'm falling behind. I should be so much farther ahead than I am now. And I'm sure those of you here with me have heard me echo those sentiments. And ultimately, I think that's because perfectionism is a little bit of a misnomer. That instead of striving to be perfect, it's really about never feeling good enough. Perfectionism can look like striving for excellence for the sake of excellence or setting high standards, working hard, caring deeply. Noting those are positive attributes, rather. It is a huge asset for many professions, say for a pilot or brain surgeon, but it can tip over into unhealthy behavior. Hendrickson should know. She said she wrote her most recent book, How to Be Enough: Self Acceptance for Self Critics and Perfectionists for Herself. There is a saying for self help book authors, which is, write the book you need. So I did. I wrote it for me. But as a clinical psychologist at an anxiety specialist center, I also wrote the book for everybody else like me. Perfectionism is at the heart of many medical and mental health challenges. And it also is a really central component of eating disorders, of a lot of kinds of depression, of OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. She said it even reaches its tendrils into conditions you wouldn't ordinarily think of, such as migraines, erectile dysfunction, and panic attacks. For me, she said, it manifested physically. Let me ask a question. For those of us here, and I want to be, yes, we're people of color. Do you think our upbringing also has something to do with this? Because how many of us have said to our parents, oh, I got a 90 on a test, and what's the response? So what happened to the other 10%? Oh, I came fifth in my class, so why couldn't you be first? So our parents and our grandparents and those who raise us somehow instill this unattainable idea of perfectionism within us. And because of that, we doubt ourselves a lot. We are hard on ourselves and we don't even realize what we're doing. And we somehow pass it on to our children. I think a lot of this is societal too. You know, we always have to be better than. We always have to do better than. We always have to work twice as hard, 3 times as hard. And this can cause anxiety. And I'm talking about our community. And I know it happens within the Asian community where children are pushed to the limit. It happens in the Indian community too. They're pushed to the limit. Should parents scale back and understand that children are never going to be perfect? And maybe then and only then we will be able to accept ourselves more, be more accepting of our shortcomings, so to speak. Not to say that you're going to just be substandard. No, I'm not saying that. But you're able to embrace not being perfect. Am I making sense? I don't know. But I think this has a lot to do with how we are raised. And then we stress out. We always say that, why am I stressed? Why are we stressing? Why are we stressing? We're stressing because we need to attain the validation of externals. Who are these externals? Family members, friends, employers, communities. We are trying to seek their validation when them are struggle too, but they're not tell about for them struggle. Do you agree or disagree? Let me know. Let us know in the comments how you feel about this. When do we break the chains? When do we step away and learn to understand that we'll never be perfect? And let us not be hard on ourselves. Embrace our shortcomings, embrace when we make errors, but do not allow it to prevent us from making a start on a journey that we want to set out on. Yeah. I think that's a great note to end our YouTube live on. Right? Do not be hard on yourselves. And that was our health and science story brought to you by Lormel Skin Food. And fan base, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the YouTube live. I'll be right back with you. Coffee in Tow is an interactive world news podcast, a dynamic and engaging live show that streams across multiple internet radio stations worldwide. This podcast brings you real-time news updates, in-depth analysis, and interactive discussions on global events, making you a part of the conversation no matter where you are. With a diverse range of expert guests and listener participation, it's your go-to source for staying informed and connected to the world. Coffee in Tow is brought to you in part by Lormel Skin Food. Log on to lormelskinfood.com. Discover the range of natural skincare solutions. Indulge in the radiance of natural and organic beauty with the best natural and organic soap bars, whipped soaps, body butters, and oils. All 100% natural products. Lormel Skin Food for a natural, beautiful you. The world's best coffee from our farms to your cup. It's Grand Coffee House.